3 chase. Suspect was last reported southbound on Highway 99.
Sierra 16, 1023 with the
pursuit. Okay. Mic check. Let's make sure we got everything rolling. Let's see. Can you guys hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Video looks good. Audio. Some always goes wrong when you're doing live streams. You guys, this is our first live stream in a long time. So let me just make sure this stuff is legit. Okay. Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate you. Listen, welcome back, you guys. It's the Real Nathan Daily, and this is our live stream. I think this might be our first one for the year. So listen, I'm so grateful for you guys. Our channel is growing exponentially, and I really appreciate all the love, all the support. We've been having a lot of growth over here. New concepts, the crime classroom. You guys absolutely love it. The comments are crazy. We've been handling a lot of different cases. There's been so much going on. So I decided on this topic, a topic that is extremely sensitive to a lot of people. We've seen the type of blowback and the heated debates and false information, and also the propaganda, the racial, all the racism and racial type of firestorm that this case has set up, you guys. This is an extremely tragic event. We had someone who lost their life who shouldn't have lost their life. We have someone's life who's essentially completely changed forever. And there's a lot to talk about. You guys, we're talking about Karmelo Anthony. We're talking about Austin Metcalf, his family, the family of Karmelo as well. There's so many people affected by this tragedy. Friends, schools, communities, this entire nation is in an uproar. We have some people who are using this case to funnel their own silly agenda, their own racial agenda, their own pockets. You guys, this case has been absolutely chaotic, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it tonight. There's going to be a lot of conversation. This is going to be a live discussion. Obviously, you guys, I want you to come up and say what you have to say, but we have rules and guidelines. This, I believe, is our first live stream for the year. We're going to be doing more of these, but there are rules with this live stream. If you want to come up and have the discussion, have a debate, you can ask me questions live, or you can ask me questions in the chat related to crime, criminal procedure. You guys, as you know, I'm a 13-year law enforcement veteran. I've investigated cases. I also work as an expert witness for high-profile crimes as well. I look at these things all the time, and I dissect these things to the lowest common denominator. As you can imagine, I've worked cases. I've arrested people on all 7 deadly sins. So this is something I'm experienced with, and so I love to be able to share with you guys my knowledge, my training, and my experience. So we're not going to waste any time. And listen, I've read the comments. All right. So I know you guys, let me just say this. It's the criminal justice system. It's a system of police, courts, and you have judges, you have the correctional department. You guys, we all work in this system, this universe of crime and justice, and we all have a different role to play. Whereas law enforcement, we enforce the law. We have attorneys that argue the law, and we have judges that interpret the law. All right. So we all have a unique role to play. I'm going to give you my thoughts from my training, my thoughts from my experience, you guys, how these things should be investigated, what type of things I've noticed, problems with this case, and also some of the issues that are being spread on social media, some of the bias coming from people who claim to be professionals, complete disgusting behavior from professionals, from people who have experience as attorneys, or people who just have opinions. Everybody who has a damn mic has something to say, yet they have no type of training or no actual real knowledge on how these things work. So you are more than welcome to come up live and have a discussion with me. But there's one caveat, right? You have to have your camera on. That's a YouTube thing and stuff like that. Believe it or not. So camera has to be on. Please be sitting still, facing the camera. Don't hold the phone and walk around and things like that. So please, if you can, just out of respect, be still, have good lighting, camera on, and we can get into a discussion. Probably 10, maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, maybe each person. These things fill up quickly. Okay. So I want everyone to get a chance to have a question. And so please, by all means, do not hesitate. There's a poll in the chat right now that's suggesting, hey, is this self-defense or is it murder? Guys, this is the topic for tonight. Was this self-defense or was this murder? I want to hear your thoughts and I want to hear your opinions, and then we can talk about it. All right. So listen, thank you guys so much for coming in. As you enter in the chat, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. That is the currency for YouTube. All right. So you'll be seeing me looking back and forth. This isn't my normal setup. So I got this. I only got one screen. So I'm going to be struggle streaming tonight. So let's go ahead and dive into it, you guys. I'm going to drop the link into the chat for you guys to start filling up the chat room. And then I'm going to give you my summary. We're going to go through a brief summary of this case. I'm updated on the evidence that we all have. Some people have some stuff that hasn't been legitimized yet, but you can speak what you got to speak, say what you got to say. I'm really curious to hear everybody's thoughts. All right. So shout out to everybody that's filling up the chat room. I really appreciate you guys here. Please hit the like button as you come in. Shout out to y'all. You guys, I'm so far away from the computer. I'm not going to be able to type too much. But again, thank you so much for coming in tonight. As you guys come in, you already are aware of this case, right? We don't really have to recover too much. There's been a lot of new information with the family have been speaking into the public. They have an attorney who's been speaking. There's been rumors about how much money they have raised. There's rumors about what they did with the money. Okay. A lot of people are reporting on events and things that they have no idea about. And they're spreading a lot of false information for whatever nefarious reason they may have. Some people in this space of YouTube, you guys, they like to just report on gossip. Okay. They'll make a video about gossip. They don't really care. All right. And this is the problem with YouTube. This is the problem, people who aren't qualified to have these conversations. So let me see. Let me get this invite link going for the moderators. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let me see. That's right. All right. Let me know if that goes through because I can't see anything on this. Okay, cool. So this is the link to the live stream for you guys to come up and have the conversation. So let me just say this, right? The reason why you have so much foolishness on YouTube, and be very clear, is because the foolishness is incentivized, right, by money. Okay, so this is the problem with YouTube. Ignorance, stupidity, all of it is profitable. You can make money. It's incentivized. You simply need people to click and watch the video. So when people get information, they don't verify it. Okay. You guys, you see on my channel, what I do is I wait a little bit. I try to get as much information as possible. I don't make videos to keep up with the gossip. Okay. We don't gossip over here. We stick to the facts. You guys know we do facts over feelings. That's the whole purpose of this channel. We have intellectual debates and conversations. And I don't get it right all the time, right? I don't aim to be right. I aim to be accurate. And there are times where I'm wrong. And I don't mind being corrected because this is not about me. Okay. So when we are talking about topics and we're going over things, I learn things from you guys. You guys learn things from me in this exchange of information. Okay. This is a community of mature intellectuals. That's how I look at you guys. When we're over here having conversations, these conversations are very sensitive. They make people uncomfortable, but we do it out of love and out of respect. The moment people start crossing that line of respect and they start being disrespectful, or they start making insults or speaking about things that have nothing to do with the discussion or the channel or anything, you guys, I'm in the habit of just going to remove you from the comments. Okay. So we want people who are going to listen, it's okay for you to be upset. I don't mind the emotion, but when you come up here, be respectful. We're going to have a good discussion, good debate. I'm going to educate you guys on some things about police procedure. All right. So That is the mood for tonight. Now, listen, there's another reason why we're doing this live stream. There have been a lot of confident people in the comment section under my video. So I always want to encourage people that you are more than welcome to come up and challenge. I don't mind the debate. Okay. Bless your heart. You come up here and act silly, you're going to get your feelings hurt. So at the same time, I am open for anybody. If you just have an idea, you just want to express yourself and express certain things you're not sure about. Maybe I said something in a video that I wasn't clear on. By all means, you are more than welcome to come up and ask the question. All right. So with that being said, let's get into it. The link is in. Okay, the link is in. I'm curious about the poll so far. So far, we have 115 people voted, and it looks like I can't even see from here. Sorry, I'm all away from the computer. 58% said self-defense. Okay. And then 42% said murder. So we're half and half. We're a little bit over, right? So that's interesting. That's interesting that a lot of people, there's a good portion of people who say self-defense. You guys, I would be completely honest with you, and I'm gonna go on record saying this, that I would have locked him up. All right. I would have locked Karmelo Anthony up. Why? Because he stabbed a man in the chest. Okay. You can't do that. Now, here's the thing, though. Even after interviewing people, I have issues with how the officers conducted their investigation. Why do I say that? When I read the police report, I saw a lot of bias. I saw bias. You guys, when you are conducting an investigation such as that, you want to get enough information because as officers on the scene, you are the first responder. Everything you hear, everything you do determines what charge, who you detain, who you interview. What I saw based on the report, officers interviewing people, witnesses who were giving their statement. But I didn't really see in the statement of the report where officers were challenging or asking or diving deeper into a conversation. For example, when one of the witnesses made a statement and said, "Hey, you know, Carmelo said this. He put his hand in his bag. And then, so matter of fact, let me pull a statement. Pull a statement up just so you can see exactly what I'm referring to. I want to show you what I picked up in reference to the statement. We're going to start with the witness statement because this is where a lot of issues, a lot of problems that people had. And let me minimize this. Let me open this. There we go. I can see myself better. I can look at these. If you have a question as well, and you don't want to come up in the chat and have the conversation, if you do want to come up, the link is in the chat. You can come up and have the conversation. If you have a question, please put a Q in front of your comment in the chat, and I will pull it up on the screen. For example, let me see. For example, boom. All right, this is what we'll do. Southern Emperor says, I wonder why they have not the Oh, my bad. I had to mute on the whole thing the whole time. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check. All right, you guys, listen. I'm dealing with that Amazon equipment right here. No audio. Y'all can hear me now. Okay, there we go. All right. Sheesh. Do not get your streaming equipment from China. Okay. Don't do it. I did it. It doesn't work. Listen, we back into it. Thank you guys for holding steady. So, like I was saying before, real quick, I'll put up your Michi's in the house. Shout out to Michi. Michi. All right. So now that we got this thing squared away, you guys, listen, if you want to come up again, cameras on. If you have questions in the chat about police procedure, about the investigation, things of that nature, you can put Q in front and I will pull your comment to the screen. All right. So anyways, where was I? I wanted to pull up a witness statement so we can really break this down. All right. So let me see. I haven't been on this in a while, you guys. I am so sorry. So I'm kind of, it's like I have to figure this whole thing out. But let's pull up the witness statement. At least one of them. Yeah. Let's pull up the witness statement. There we go. And this is important. And I want to tell you the issue I have as an investigator, the issue I have with this case as it relates to how the officer conducted this investigation. So for example, we're going to go ahead and go over the highlighted. And here it says, he stated they were all sitting at the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent. See, one of the biggest problems with this case, you guys, is that people who are chiming in on this, people who are speaking about this particular case, they don't understand police procedure. They don't understand the law. They have no idea what they're talking about. So what tends to happen is people are speaking based off of their personal moral convictions, right? This ideology that I am me. I am the great I am. No one can tell me that this place that I'm sitting in belongs to anybody but me, even if it's public property, right? This idea that I own the public or I own the block, right? The only thing you own is what you have your name on, your house, your car. Okay. That's what you own. You have control and dominion over that. Okay. People are complaining about the man, Karmelo, just being present at the track meet. And he's an athlete, right? Why is he even there? He was suspended from school. I mean, we've heard so much stuff that's absolutely irrelevant. This case begins the moment one person confronts the other person. People say it's illegal for him to be under the tent. You guys, that's not true. All right? That's not true. That's like saying we're at a park and we're all gathered in a circle and somebody walks through the circle. Hey, this is our circle. No one is allowed in our circle. Sir, this grass is for everybody. This mentality that I can show up in any person's land and claim ownership to it, that's the problem. Okay? That's the problem. So people are looking at this and saying that the provocation started the moment Karmelo went under another high school's tent. This is how they are understanding to themselves, because in their mind, they believe that that is a violation of the law. Just because someone violates your personal moral comfort zone or your personal moral value system doesn't mean that that's against the law. Okay, there's a big difference, right? That's how we can make these statements and say, well, this is awful. He was rude. He may have been disrespectful, right? It may have been inconsiderate, but it's not criminal. There's a difference. There's a big difference. And this is where a lot of this makeshift ideas of people feeling personally attacked, right? If it was my tent, the question is, whose tent was it? The name on the top belongs to the school, right? Who's in charge? Who put the tent up? All right, whose is it? Well, that's the person you need to go to regulate any issues regarding that tent. That's just a fact, right? That's a fact. And who's to say he wasn't invited? Who's to say he didn't know anybody there? So again, when we're looking at the law, we talk about things that actually stand in court. Okay, not your feelings, not your personal convictions, not what you want to believe is true. That's not what stands in court. Law stands in court. Okay. So we can do the what if isms all day, but the reality is it's not against the law for him to have been underneath that tent. Period. Okay. So that's not provocation. That was a big thing too. People were like, "Oh, he provoked him by just being present." Like, God, dog. Is that how y'all think? People who agree with that, is that how you think? Well, that's a problem. And that's not a white thing, right? I don't want people to get confused and say that's white folk, right? Wherever they just get off a boat and where they land, that's their land, right? No, it's not. I'm just saying. You have gang members who sit up on blocks and say they own this street, 1333 Boulevard, right? This is old block. We own all this. Sir, your mother is renting this apartment on the 13th floor, okay? Sir, no, you don't own this block. This is our park. We the park boys. This is something that we see everywhere. You have people who take ownership over sports paraphernalia, okay? When I was a kid growing up, we couldn't wear Raiders. We couldn't wear Raiders jersey. We couldn't wear blue. We couldn't wear red, you guys. This was a real thing, right? You had gang members who hijacked colors. Imagine that. We weren't allowed to wear certain outfits because gangs have taken ownership of something that they don't own. So we see this arrogance all throughout this country, this arrogance, you guys, that I own this. This is my spot, though it's public property. And if you violate that, you got to see about me. People keep forgetting these are 17-year-old boys. These are 17-year-old boys. I heard one conversation, someone had made a statement and was like, he asked the cop if this was self-defense. Well, for him to have to ask, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's 17 years old. He's 17, right? We're not making excuses for him. Listen, let me be very clear about my position on Karmelo Anthony. I would have locked him up. I'd have locked him up. Okay. I would have done a better job. Well, I won't say, I don't know how well they did the job, but based on the police report, it was biased. The police report was biased. People are jumping to conclusion based off of the witness statements, and the witness statements in the police report is trash. It's absolute trash. I don't understand where people are like, he had a knife, he's guilty. You don't even know what the knife looks like. In order for it to be even illegal, the knife has to be 5.5 inches long. Long. For all you know, he could have had a Boy Scout knife. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He took a weapon. He took an object. Whether it was a utility knife, it could have been a Boy Scout nail sharpener. But he plunged it in the chest of someone and it killed him. So it doesn't have to be an illegal knife. It's a weapon. He used it as a weapon. If I take a rock and I knock you over the head with it, that rock has now become a weapon that I used for deadly force, okay? So that's how it works. People are bringing up, I can't believe, who brings a knife to it? You don't even know what the knife looks like. No one knows what the knife looks like. It's not in the police report about what kind of knife was collected, the size of the knife, none of that was put in there. So we don't know. We don't know. We haven't seen the video. People are making so many statements. You haven't even seen the video, right? People are saying there's no excuse, there's no justification to use deadly force when someone pushed you and touched you, unless, right? Y'all saw the video. Unless you're using a weapon as a force equalizer, you guys, okay? You can use a weapon if you're outnumbered, right? That raises your self-defense claim. I hear what some of these attorneys are saying, but listen to me, okay? Let me be very clear about these attorneys on YouTube. They're full of it. Why? Because the courtroom is adversarial. You have one position, and guess what? You have another position. You have a prosecutor and you have a defense attorney. You guys, okay? One attorney's going to tell you something, but hire that attorney for your case and watch his entire tone change. His entire tone is going to change. Do you not think, obviously, you have attorneys who represent criminals, obviously, all the time. So when you have an attorney get on here and they're just so adamant about this being this and this being that, oh, there's no way. All of a sudden, their brain and all their year of training just goes out the window. They can't even foresee a possibility that, is it possible that this could be self-defense? They don't even give you that. They just say, nah. I'm looking at the same report they got access to, and I'm still trying to figure out where they've come to this conclusive statement. You guys, when we look at this statement right here, let me just be clear. All right. Again, I'd have locked them up too. Okay. I just want to be honest. Look what it says. He stated they were all sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent when another male who he did not know walked over and sat underneath the tent. Austin, let me make sure where I'm at. Then said Austin, okay, the victim, okay, Karmelo. Let me just say Karmelo. I don't know. He kept putting Austin here. Karmelo, okay, Austin told this male that since he did not go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent, okay? Blank had said during this time, okay, hold on. I'm confused. I can't even see this, y'all. I can't even see this damn thing. It says Austin and the male went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get him out of the tent. All right. So let's start there. All right, let's start there. He told him, hey, you don't go to the school, you need to get out the tent. There's nothing wrong with him saying that, okay? Let's be clear. Of course, there's nothing wrong with Austin saying that to Karmelo. Hey, Karmelo, you don't belong here, you need to leave. Karmelo more than likely said, why am I leaving? I don't feel like leaving. Who knows what he said, but he didn't leave, okay? In that moment, Austin should have went and got an authoritative figure if he felt Karmelo was doing something he had no business doing. He was disturbing the peace in the tent. Whatever his reasoning was for not wanting him there, you guys, he should have went and got an authority figure. Period. Period. It doesn't matter what you think. I don't care how you feel. You can come up here and debate me on it. He should have went and got whoever's responsible, whoever drove him on a bus to Memorial that day, whatever coach, whatever chaperone took his team there, he should have went and got one of them. That's how teens are supposed to handle issues with other kids and other teens. Period, you guys. All right. We got to start there. And you have these parents. Shame on y'all in these comments and under these videos. Some grown, old, miserable people who can't even acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge that. How are you raising these kids? Are you not telling your kids what Austin did? I want to know what the conversation is at the dinner table now with this topic. What are you telling children? If I had kids, I'm saying, you see what Austin did? Don't do that. You voice your concern about someone you have an issue with under that tent or in an area you feel like they don't belong, you need to go and tell somebody. Period. That's how it needs to be handled. I want to know what you told these kids. How are they supposed to handle conflict? Why, in all of his glorious ego, would he feel as an individual it's okay to go and touch, push, right? This witness said he pushed him out of the tent. Okay? Hear me now. You guys, I'm a criminal investigator. I've locked up plenty of people, hundreds of people. You do not put your hands on people, period. You come out in the real world, okay? You come out in the real world and you put your hands on the wrong person and it send you up out of here. They will send you up out of here. Do not touch people. Hell, you can't even cut people off in traffic. You can't do it. I tell this to teen boys. I tell this to teen girls. When I'm working domestic cases, don't put your hands on no man. No man is obligated to restrain himself and not knock you into next week. That's not a rule. That's not a law. Okay? Don't hit anybody and you won't get hit. You put your hands on somebody, you cannot then dictate how that person wants to put their hands on you. There are some people who tell you all day they're ready to go to jail. I've locked up plenty of people. I showed up at the scene and the brother was sitting there looking at me like, yeah, I did it. And if you want to take me to jail, Officer Daly, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. What I do? Send me two more. Send me 2 more units. I'm not about to fight you, bro. Everybody doesn't need to be. Everybody, when you put your hands on someone, you can't control. You only have control over yourself. You have control over your own body. Austin tried to control the body of another person and got bodied in the process. It's not okay. And here's the thing. I'm sitting at the table now. I have a kid and I'm talking to Karmelo. I'm like, why the hell did you do that? If someone is insulting and disrespecting you, you need to move out the way. You need to remove yourself from the situation. You know what I teach kids at these summer camp every year that I go to? I say the best self-defense is not fighting at all. Why? Because the fighting and the deaths and the shootings during the summer in my community go through the roof. They're through the roof during the summer. They call me all the time. Send me, hey, Officer Dale, can you come by our school? Can you come by our summer camp and talk to the kids about how to deal with conflict and intimate partner violence? It's the biggest problem in our community. Just a couple days ago, this brother went to Walmart and shot and killed 2 people. Went and shot his girlfriend, ex-girl. I don't know what it is, but anyways, he was on a shooting rampage. Intimate partner violence is a real thing, you guys. So again, when I have these conversations with kids, what am I telling Karmelo? Okay, somebody's doing this or doing that. Remove yourself out of the area. Period. Period. You're 17 years old. You're trying to stand your ground for what? For what? So when I look at this case, you guys, I look at it as we have all these grown adults who can't acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge that. Okay? What's the reality? As an officer, I show up at the scene. What am I looking at? Okay. I talk to the witness. What does the witness say? All right. The witness says that Austin told him to leave. He didn't want to leave. He pushed him. And then what did he say? He said they argued. He said they argued. This is what the witness says. They were arguing back and forth after the push. You guys, first thing I want to know is what was said. What was said? The officer did not ask what was said. And if he did, guess what? It's not in the report. So we don't know what was said. We don't know what threats were made. If you make certain threats, you guys, and you move in my direction, and I believe you're going to carry those threats out, you guys, that changes everything about self-defense. Why do I say that? Where do we see that? Where do we see that? We saw that recently in New York, on the train station. Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny. America said it's okay to strangle someone to death because they made you feel uncomfortable. They said it's okay to kill a person because of self-defense, because someone said that they don't want to go to jail, that they'll kill somebody. I don't want to go to jail. He put people in fear for their safety. That's what was said. The nation rallied behind that and said that it's okay to subdue a person and strangle them until they die. That's okay. That's self-defense. You guys, that's not self-defense. That was excessive force. The jury said he was a hero. See, what happens when we start putting these cases together in the justice system, you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent, because if not, we get cases like this. The problem is people are speaking on it, and it's so disappointing to hear some of these so-called professional attorneys talk about this case. You can hear the vitriol come out in their voice when they're reporting on this. You can hear the bias come out when they report on it. And people are now like, oh, go look at this attorney's page. Look what he said. He said this is it. And you don't know what you talk about. Sir, I know exactly what I'm talking about. They don't have a job. Okay, these criminal attorneys don't have a job if I don't do my job. Okay, I enforce the law. They argue the law. Judges interpret the law. You guys, we all have a unique part in this whole role, okay? And these people online have lost their mind. They don't know what they're reading, and they're misleading you because they don't want to be honest. I have yet to see someone online who actually put out something that was actually accurate and relevant. I haven't seen it. You guys, it's disgusting. I'm not going to lie. It's disgusting. That's why in the beginning of my video, I was like, Lord, let me just please. I had to pray over the video because all the chaos. It's crazy. I was more so disappointed with the professionals, though. I'm not going to lie, because they know better. Again, when you read these statements and you have an officer who's interviewing a witness and the officer doesn't challenge the witness is biased, the witness is friends with the victim, and you ask the witness what happened, and the witness leaves out anything incriminating on the victim. And the officer doesn't ask. Oh, they're arguing back and forth. And then Karmelo said, touch me and see what happens. Punch me and see what happens. Well, guess what I'm asking? Okay, well, what did he say? What did he say to get him to say, punch me and see what happens? Do it and see what happens. You guys, that's a response to something. And I want to know what it is so that I can properly investigate. But when you read the statement, all you see is a one-sided interview. You don't see a properly balanced interview. It doesn't matter if Karmelo's wrong. We're not talking about right or wrong. We're talking about how it should have been conducted so that we have a better understanding of what took place. If the witness said they're arguing, you do not ask what they were arguing about or what was said. Even if he says, hey, I asked the witness what the argument was about. The witness said he cannot recall the details. Guess what? That's in my report. He cannot recall the details. After he pushed them, what did Austin say? After he got pushed, what did Karmelo say? I want to know what Karmelo said. Did Karmelo threaten Austin? That matters. That's provocation. A threat and a promise are two different things. A threat and a warning are two different things. And for people to sit here and listen and say, he said, touch me and see what happens, that's provocation. I said, well, Dan, what did he say to make him say that? Right? You guys, come on now. That's common sense. Don't you want to know what Austin told him? Don't you want to know what Austin promised him if he did not leave the tent? What was his promise? Hey, guess what, Karmelo? By all means, young chap, if you don't leave the tent, I'm going to have to push you out. I'm going to have to punch you. I'm going to knock your teeth out. I'm going to swell your eye. I'm going to kick your face in. You guys, that matters. This matters in self-defense. Because if now you got the self-defense person who's claiming self-defense gets on the stand and says, he said he was going to pull my eyes out, take my bottom lip and wrap it over my head. And when he started walking towards me, I feared that he was going to carry that out. Listen, this guy is 6'1". He's 225 pounds. I was scared. This is why when these things go to court, just like the Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, when this went to court and you started seeing all the evidence, people are like, oh, hold on. What's the problem with this case? Everybody's jumping to conclusions, and we don't have any evidence. We don't have anything. We don't have anything. So it's very hard for me to see how these so-called attorneys, okay, and some of these cult groups on the left and the right, okay, both sides. I've heard the craziest stuff. Oh, it's these single parent households that are destroying black. We need to talk about black crime, and this is just evil, and he's a demon. And I'm just like, where the hell are everybody? Where are you getting this information from? Not only that, people started preaching heavy about this whole thing about how the money's being spent. All the money. They're blowing all the money, just like some Negroes. These little nigglets, they got all this extra money from the fund, and they're spending the fund money any kind of way they want. They bought a house, they bought a car. Where did you get that information from? Listen, you guys, this is scary. This is crazy. And the moment this information hits wherever it hits, social media, somebody makes it up, you have all these dingbats, all these retards. I'm sorry. Someone told me not to use the R word. My mom told me that, and then that's people. I apologize. Some of these imbeciles, right? The moment they get information, they don't know where it comes from. They don't source it. They don't try to look into it a little further. They run with it. And they went with this whole insult campaign. And now you see people posting videos about, oh, they bought an $800,000 house. Why does that even matter? What does it have to do with the case? Right? I heard some BLM all over again. Okay. Oh, he's from a single parent household. Why else would he stab somebody? Come to find out, the brother got two parents still together, and the other side, you got Metcalf and his parents aren't even together. And that's not a shot against him. It's just the idea that there's this constant assumption that all black people are the same. There's this racist assumption that black people don't have money, that we're not educated, that we're ignorant, that we're stupid, that we're slow, that we're violent. A lot of us we'd be a little too extra now. That's a conversation for another day. But when we're talking about the facts of this case, focus on this case. Your statistics don't belong in this case. So it was very interesting to see how people had this visceral emotional reaction simply because it was black and white. Some people, oh, the media. If it was the other way around, the media, you guys be marching the street. So what? Why does that bother you so much? Some of you guys are white folks too. Listen to me now. Hear me out. I love everybody. I'm a Christian. I love everybody equally. But here's the reality. We have black people who are brainwashed by the media, by these activists, by these, I'm sorry, Michi's in the chat, not activists, corrupt activists, because we got some good ones. Shout out to Michi. She's a good activist. We have some corrupt activists within the black community. We have corrupt black leaders and those who self-appoint themselves as the black spokesman for black people who are corrupt. And they push poison in the minds of black people. Okay, they push a false narrative and false agenda to black people, and they got us out here looking real silly, thinking real stupid. Okay, that's a real problem. And white America is not aware of that. They see it, but they don't understand what's going on. But guess what? The same crooked and corrupt people who infect us with foolishness also infect y'all with foolishness as well. Yep. Absolutely. The brainwashing goes both ways. And that's the problem. Okay. That's the problem. Nobody has the wherewithal and the maturity to sit down, block out all the white noise. Some of y'all are mad about the white noise comment. That's a real definition. Somebody's like, how about we block out the black noise? Sir, that's absent of sight. Like, come on, that's a real word. But white noise is a real thing. Get all this static out of your life, you guys, and just calm down. Calm down. Just calm down and listen. We are both being played and put against each other. This is what they want. And it's so obvious. It's absolutely so obvious. We are all being manipulated against each other. Someone put out a false rumor about them spending all of their aid money, okay? This is the Karmelo family, to buy an $800,000 home. I want to know where you got that information from. Who told you that? We need to play telephone. Follow that information. I want to know the source of that. It's not true. It's not true. Where did it come from? And the moment somebody took it, everybody was so desperate, okay, to make a video. Oh shit, I got to make a video on it. Why? Because I want the money. See, ignorance is incentivized on YouTube, you guys. It's incentivized. That's why people do it. If you got paid for putting out accurate information, you wouldn't see this foolishness on YouTube. Everybody's in a rush to say nothing at all. That's the point. All these videos, and I want to see who's going to walk it back, and I want to see who's going to come and apologize. I'm curious, is anybody going to hold themselves accountable? Don't worry, I've been screenshotting thumbnails. I want to see by tomorrow who's going to delete their videos. Nah, stay with your chest. Where did you get that information from? You're so quick. You guys, listen, I don't know everything, but I'm not out here pocket watching either. I want to know what's going to go on in the courtroom. I want to see the video. Listen, I would have locked him up for manslaughter. You can't stab somebody in the chest unless you're using a weapon as a threat equalizer. You guys, that's the only reason. He has no justification stabbing anybody in the chest one-on-one. The brother took a photo. His face looked cleaner than a baby's behind. But that doesn't mean he wasn't hit in the face, okay? Sometimes it takes a little minute for the swelling to go around. He could have been hit and not bruised. We don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. But there's no justification in it. That is excessive force. That'll kill self-defense any day, anytime. Excessive force always kills self-defense. Trayvon Martin. I said it in the previous video. Trayvon Martin, innocent, 17-year-old boy minding his own business. George Zimmerman goes and he's effing with them. He's following them around in the neighborhood. He was told to leave him alone. He didn't listen. He was told not to carry a gun. He didn't listen. He confronts this boy. The boy beats the dog snot out of him. And while he's getting beat up, his head is getting slammed on the asphalt. Okay? George Zimmerman takes his gun and pops him one time. I don't agree with it. I think he still should have been charged. But the jury said that they were unable to prove that that was not self-defense. You guys, what you don't understand how this game works, even if you're the primary aggressor, I don't make the laws. I just explain them to you. I show you how they're enforced. I show you how they are articulated in a courtroom. See, you guys want to tell me what flies on the street. I'm telling you what lands in court. Those are two totally different things, okay? I've been on a stand. Have you been on a stand? Have you been interrogated by an attorney? Listen, I've been dragged up and down. I've been embarrassed on the stand. And I said, it'll never happen again. It'll never. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't feel good. All right. When you're on the stand and they're cross-examining and you're sweating, you're looking crazy. Everybody's watching you make mistakes. And you have an attorney who just tears you apart. It's not fun. I'm telling you, I know exactly how it feels. I know what attorneys look for. I know how they ask questions. I know how they look at evidence. So with that being said, I take that and I build myself up. Here I am explaining to you how it works. This is the issue. Excessive force will destroy a self-defense case. Karmelo Anthony had a right to defend himself. He had a right to stand his ground. He did not have a right to use excessive force. He better have a good explanation. The only thing I can see is if he was about to be jumped, if his brother also threatened, if his brother said he's going to get involved, you guys, that changes. It doesn't mean he's going to get away with it. It doesn't mean he can beat the case. It just means he has a stronger argument. You guys, this is manslaughter. It's manslaughter. All day, this is manslaughter. Yep. This is manslaughter. Trayvon Martin lost his life because you had an overzealous security guard who didn't want to follow instructions. And because of his reckless conduct, him being irresponsible, he should have been charged with manslaughter. Yeah, you were defending yourself, but guess what? You were told not to go there. You were told to leave him alone. You were told not to carry a gun. You did what you wanted to do. So I'm just saying, all right, you got to be careful out here. If you can walk away from a situation, walk away. Walk away. Okay? De-escalate. Show that you made some type of effort to de-escalate the situation. All these witnesses, you got coaches saying they got witnesses, adults saying they were witnesses, and I'm thinking y'all are witnessing. What were y'all doing? What were y'all doing? The kids are witnessing this go back. They want to see a fight. And guess what? Those kids there are probably regretting not stepping in and breaking that up, because by they're so busy wanting to put everything on social media and record everything, someone lost their life. A lot of people are to blame. A lot of people, I will say to blame, a lot of people are going to feel blame. There's only one person to blame, two people to blame, Austin and Karmelo. They're in charge of their own bodies, right? So, anyways, the link is dropped. Does anyone want to come up? Feel free to come up. I want to hear your thoughts, any questions, comments. Any questions, any comments? Okay. Yeah, StreamYard link is dropped. Everybody wants to pull out a camera, and everybody wants, this is a tragedy, you guys. This is a tragedy. What I don't like about this is, for some reason, this whole thing turned out to be a constant comparison. Michi said she's gonna come up. I gotta save Michi for last. She's probably gonna tear me apart. Michi said she was gonna come up. Michi! Oh, pin the link? Yeah, let me pin the link. Let me pin the link. Give me 1 second. Let me pin the link. I can't even pin the. Can I pin the link? Okay, y'all put a question. Okay, we got a question. Why won't they release the footage? They can't, because it's evidence. They're not. It's the video. The state has to release it. Say the video. The state has to be in agreement with. Okay, first of all, it's a stabbing, right? So of course this is different. Honestly, I don't know. The parents, the family has to be in agreement with the state to release the evidence. The state has to want to release the evidence and feel like it's okay for them to release it. If they haven't released it yet, we're not going to see it until trial. Okay, they're not going to release it, and they probably put instructions on the witnesses who did record it that not to release it, or they'll be obstructing justice. They can go to jail for it. All right. So this is why the officers did a great job securing that evidence at the scene. They snatched cell phones up like that. Okay. No one got a chance to get away with their phone that had the recordings on it. That's why there was some video recently put out about a guy who said he was present. The brother could barely talk proper English. No disrespect to the brother, but he didn't sound credible. Okay. He's like, man, I had 2 daughters and they was under the tent, and the tent was under the tent, and my daughters was there tenting. And I'm listening to him like, bro, what are you talking about? So again, people are so desperate to want to be first. Everybody wants to be first. No, be accurate. Okay, be accurate. I want to put out information too, you guys, but I want to be accurate. This is not a game to me. This is not. I've seen so much death. This is not fun to me. where I take pride in is being able to explain and diffuse conflict, be able to give you guys a different way of looking at things, interpreting things from the lens of someone who's seen this up close, someone who's investigated crimes, someone who's looked at reports and things of that nature. So for me, this is more so about educating. Okay. This is not about being popular. You know, people unsubscribe because you say something that they don't like or that they don't feel comfortable with. The truth is the truth, whether you like it or not. This is why I say facts over feelings. I'm not here to coddle you, you guys. I'm not. We're all adults. If you can't handle mature conversation, by all means, all right, bless your heart. Some of y'all are too old to be acting the way and thinking. I read some of these comments. I'm like, are y'all parents? Jesus Christ. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. The mentality of a lot of you guys, it's scary. You know, but this is America, right? This is America. What was wrong with Mello sitting under the tent? What happened to being a friendly neighbor? Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with him being under the tent. There is no policy that says students can't congregate under other schools' tents. I've never heard that before, even though that might not be a practice all the time. It's not that serious. And even so, why can't he be under there? Okay, so the argument is according to Hunter. Hunter told his dad that Karmelo was heckling the other team. He was talking trash. Okay. That's what Hunter told his dad, which means Hunter was there. Okay. Hunter was there. He gave the dad an entire story about what happened, according to Hunter, which means Hunter was side by side his twin brother who was getting into a fight. So does that mean his twin brother did not get involved? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Right? This is why I said if his brother was involved, that changes everything. Okay. So to your question, I don't know why. Because people have egos. People have egos. You guys, this is a real thing. You know, this is my tent. Who are you? You're not the tent police. You're not. You're not the tent police. And I say that with all respect. You're not the tent. You don't own the tent. You don't own the bleachers. There's a little canopy over bleachers that you do not own. You don't. Okay. You don't want them there. I get it. You should have told somebody. You should have told an adult. You're not an adult. You're not even old enough to buy cigarettes. You should have told an adult to handle that. You were a kid trying to physically remove another kid. You can't do that. You just can't, you guys. It's in the school handbook. You can't put your hands on another student. You can only control yourself. You cannot control consequences, you guys. That's a reality. And Karmelo's learning that too. He should have what? Controlled himself. Karmelo should have controlled himself. And by him not controlling himself, guess what he can't do? He can't control the consequences. What is he looking at? He's looking at first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter. You guys, he's putting his chance in front of a jury. Can't control your consequences. Why was he under a tent? Because he wanted to be. It doesn't matter why he was under the tent. You can't force him out. That's what I'm saying. You guys are asking the wrong questions. It doesn't matter why he was there. It doesn't matter because it's not illegal. We only want to analyze legal questions, legal issues. It's not illegal. It's not. Shout out to Lisa. Lisa, would this be involuntary manslaughter? No. No, it wouldn't. And I don't know if Texas has involuntary manslaughter, to be honest. Georgia does. Involuntary manslaughter would be like, say you're, okay, perfect example, involuntary manslaughter. I had this case. Students fighting in the bathroom. Okay. One of the students gets punched in the face. He falls back, hits his head on the sink. Out of here. Right. He dies. Well, the kid who punched him in the fight had he wasn't trying to kill him. But because of what happened, he died from it. That's involuntary manslaughter, meaning that I didn't volunteer to kill him. Okay. It happened by accident. But through my reckless actions, it cost him his life. Involuntary or vehicular homicide, right? That's another one where that's what they usually charge someone who's like DUI and they get into an accident. Well, and the person who they got in an accident with ends up passing away. Well, you didn't get behind the wheel to try to kill somebody, but the manslaughter aspect is that you recklessly got behind the wheel knowing you're intoxicated and your reckless actions cause the death of another person. General Nutsack. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, insane. NBA star stabbed that white dude crazy. This whole thing is sad, but this happens all the time. All the time. The media picks and choose what they're going to sensationalize, how they're going to control the populace. And then, of course, you have these left-wing groups, right-wing conservative groups, liberal groups. They all get on and they start hyping everything up. Nobody has all the answers. And what I don't like about conservative groups, you guys, I'm not going to lie, their hypocrisy. Both sides are hypocrites, right? Both sides are hypocrites. If it's a story, and this is a perfect example of the hypocrisy. Karmelo is innocent until proven guilty. Well, if it's someone conservatives agree with and what they like, they're singing that to the hills come off, okay? Innocent to prove innocent. He's innocent to proven guilty. They're singing that all day and all night on a case that they like, a case that they approve of, okay? It's innocent until proven guilty when they feel like it. Now this is a case that doesn't resonate with them. They forgot what the hell that word means. That phrase means nothing to them. Hypocrisy. Okay. Before we had all the facts on Kyle Rittenhouse, you couldn't tell these jokers that he wasn't guilty. You couldn't tell them, right? It was impossible for them to conceptualize the idea that a 17-year-old boy carrying a gun that was unlawful in a state he had no business being in, protesting and protecting somebody's business. This little boy protecting somebody's business, away from his home, running the streets past curfew, shot 3 and killed 3 people. There's no way that wasn't self-defense. There's no way they couldn't even formulate. Call it what you want to call it. All I'm saying is they're hypocrites because they wouldn't even stop to even consider a possibility. They don't care, right? And this is the problem with a lot of these jokers today on social media. And, I analyzed the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And I analyzed it based off of what? The evidence, based off of the statements of the witnesses. And you know what conclusion I came with? That it was self-defense, you guys. I'm not here to please anybody. I'm here to educate. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm not going to sell you no BS one either. Okay. I'm going to interpret the evidence. I'm explaining it to you. We can debate it all day long, but I'm not going to sell you any BS. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So, you may not understand, but again, I can explain to it from the standpoint of an investigator. All right. Shout out to We Unlock Nation. I see you in the back. I'm gonna pull your brother and get your thoughts on this case. What else was an issue? That one, they don't want to even wait for the evidence. They don't think there's any evidence. They didn't try to look and examine this case any further. Again, I'm in agreement. I'm locking him up. I'm clear on that. At the same time, I'm also going to investigate properly. I'm going to make sure that I have all the ducks lined up, and I'm going to stand by the case. I'm going to stand by the charge that I'm going to actually use. Okay. I think first, I think first degree murder, second degree murder, if it's proved, I mean, obviously all the witnesses are saying that he came over to him. You know, you're not going to get first degree murder. You're just not going to get it, you know. Anyways, we got our first guest. Let me bring you up real quick and get your thoughts on it. We on Lock Nation. Hold on 1 second, brother. Let me make sure the screen is big. I'm going to mess with this little monitor. All right, here we go. Let me see here. Man, what's good, brother? Long time no see. How you been?
I've been chilling. How about you, sir?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just getting my wheels started again on live streaming. It's been a minute.
I see. Now, you've done a excellent job on that review. Excellent job.
Thank you.
My question is very simple, and I put it in the chat earlier.
I missed it. I'm working with one screen. I can't even multitask. You good, brother? What's your question? Yeah, let's hear it.
Was his rights being read? Because once he was detained, once he had initially went up to the officer that detained him, was his rights being read? Is my question.
No, in the report it said it doesn't say that, right? And here's a misconception about the your Miranda rights. Okay, his rights weren't read. The only time an officer or an investigator has to read your rights is when they are questioning you about the crime. Anything that they're going to ask you that will incriminate you, they have to read you your rights. Sir, before you answer any questions, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. Okay, you're required to have an attorney. If you can't afford one, we'll provide one for you. Okay, and then do you understand these rights? So no, they didn't say that to him. They didn't Mirandize him. Not the initial officers did not Mirandize him. Okay, and it's not mentioned in the report that I saw. Now, once he gets to the jail, an investigator is going to go see him, and then they're going to say, "Hey, would you like to talk to us?" Guess what? Nah, I got an attorney already. My parents told me not to speak to anybody. Okay, and so that's normally what ends up happening. Now, I don't know Texas law 100%. Here in Georgia, 16 and under is considered a juvenile. Okay, 17, 18, they can converse, they can have a conversation with us without an adult present. Okay, so he's 17. More than likely, his parents got to him and they got there. Hey, he's not talking. We got an attorney. I don't think he spoke to them at all. I don't know. I haven't heard any of that. But to your point, though, he made statements to the officer when he was being detained, right? And this is what you're going with. The statements he made in the court of law, we call these spontaneous utterance. A spontaneous utterance, meaning that I didn't ask him anything. This happens all the time when you're arresting people. You know, you arrest them, they're mad, they're scared, they're nervous, and they just start talking, right? They just start talking. And you don't say nothing. Your camera's on recording everything. And so in his spontaneous utterance, that is admissible in court. Okay, meaning that can be admitted into court as evidence because the officer didn't question him. He said this on his own free will. So that all that he said, hey, I did it. It's not alleged. I am guilty. I was protecting myself. And then he asked him, is this self-defense? All of that is going to be admitted into court as evidence.
I submit that this young man did not know his Miranda rights, nor did he know anything about law.
Of course,
which is very, very important to learn. Of course, you know. But one more thing before I split. And there's a lot of inaccurate reports out there. A lot of inaccurate reports.
A lot.
One minute he's like 5'9", 5'10". Next thing he's 6 feet tall and he's 160 pounds. Now, allegedly, let's just say allegedly, he was being beat up by the two boys. All right.
Okay.
Let's just say
Right.
allegedly he was beat by the two boys. He's giving up, we're talking about 440 pounds, even possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe 250,
And 225 each.
225 each. Okay. Versus somebody who's at maximum 150. You think he's going to win that battle? Or you think he's going to struggle?
He's gonna struggle unless he knows how to fight. Unless he knows how to fight, you know.
Not everybody knows how to fight.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Someone emailed me, was like, they're mad about, I've been getting a lot of emails. Shout out to Michi. Michi's been getting emails too. I've been getting a lot of emails about people having issues with the information that I put out. You guys, I don't aim to be right. I aim to be accurate. Okay. That's my motto that I live off of. I got my information directly from the police report. That's where I pull my information from. The statements, everything I get is from the police report. Right here it says he is 5'9" and he's 130 pounds. I didn't make that up. I don't need to lie to you guys. Okay. That's not how my channel works. Okay. I'm here to educate. So this is the police report. This is the arrest report. If this is wrong, then the officer did his job wrong. Okay. Go and holler at him. Okay. I'm simply just reporting what they gave us, which is what we all have access to. This is legitimate information provided by the police. They said don't get any information nowhere else but from them. So I don't know where the hell y'all getting y'all stuff from. Okay. So let me ask
you. Line them up. You line them up like so, because
yeah. My bad.
You've been in the police before. You've been in the police. I've been in the police station before, and they line you up like so. Yep. And in the back behind you is what? Scale. What you call them? Scale.
The scale and the what do you call that? The little thing to measure your height.
You measure your height.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what they came up with. This is the thing that they came up with. Now they must have gotten this from the him being 6 feet from his time in track, right? Which can be either or. But when he was arrested, when he was detained, they brought him to the police station and they wrote him up as such. He's 17, 130 pounds. That's it. That's it. That's all. Some of them are coming in. This is a fake police report. Why would the police fake his identity? Why would they do that?
Well, this is where it's important to talk to people who actually have insight into the profession, right? Because I can give people an explanation, an understanding of why this might be a conflict, confusion, right? Why this is conflicting. Because here's the reality. Let me ask you this. When's the last time you updated your driver's license?
Ooh, 2 years ago.
All right. Have you gained more weight from 2 years ago?
I mean, my weight fluctuates.
All right. Do you every time you go to the DMV and get a new ID, you're gonna change the weight on your ID?
I mean, most likely, yeah.
All right. Have you gotten any taller from 2 years ago?
No.
All right. So here's the thing. What if the officers got this information off of his learner's permit, right? Mm-hmm. And on his learner's permit, he got it when he was 16. Okay. Maybe when he was 16, he was 5'9". Maybe now that he's 17, he's 6'1". I don't know. I don't know, but that's a year time. Okay. So it's not uncommon for us as officers to have someone's ID. The ID is outdated. And this is me just educating on what happens. Now you as the viewers have to decide whether or not you think this brother grew damn near 4 inches and gained 30 pounds in 1 year. I don't know. Okay. Something's in the food. This Texas. I don't know what they feeding them kids. But the reality is, what people are basing this off of is because he took a photo and behind him was a board with a measuring, with a ruler behind him. And the ruler was up at it said 6 inches. But guess what that means? It doesn't mean that the ruler was accurate and all the way on the ground. It doesn't mean that. We don't know. We don't know. Okay. What we do know is accurate is what was given to us by the police. And so people are looking at photos. People are speculating and they trying to be Nancy Drew. Okay. And they don't know what they're doing. All I'm saying is the police report says he's 5'9", 130 pounds. That's what the police report says. Okay. All this other, you guys are playing Facebook detective. I don't business with that. I'm looking at what the police, if they got it wrong, they'll clear it up. It would be cleared up in court. So
will he get, well, I know he's not going to get murdered. One. You know, I'm just suspecting. Like he's not going to get money. He may get manslaughter. I'm hoping and I'm praying that he gets, and this is just hearsay, 10 years probation, because this is his first offense.
Yep.
Right. This is his first murder charge, and this is going to be a stain on his record for life, basically.
For life. Yeah. For life. Yeah, for life, for sure.
So what are the life lessons can people learn from this?
Life lessons. Life lessons is number one.
Because we're talking about two 17-year-old boys.
Yeah, like I mean,
this is not a racist. This is not a racist issue, even though the public is involved and they're making it a racist issue. Even I am a victim of that, because sometimes you have to deal with certain people in that aspect. However, I'm looking as if Mr. Austin, you could have gotten security.
Yeah.
You don't own anything, even though you feel like you're privileged and you have a right to do whatever you want, because people perceive you, even your father perceived you as being, you know, the captain of the football team and all that, the bowl of grits. The right thing for you to do would be to grab security or grab an officer or an adult or whoever.
An adult, yeah.
And you wouldn't be in this, and you wouldn't be 6 feet deep. At the same time, I would not recommend bringing anything to school or school grounds or anything. However, in this day and age, Mr. Daly, you cannot tell me that any and everybody packs a gun or a knife, and that Texas is a Republican state, a very racist state, and anything can transpire, especially with Black people, African Americans. What say you?
Yeah, the reality is this. The reality is this. The world doesn't owe you any understanding. Okay. No one is obligated to live in your fantasy world. Okay. The truth is, if you come out here and you think it's okay to bully somebody, to invoke your will on somebody, everyone doesn't have to accept your will. And you only have power to control your actions. You can't control someone else's response or reaction to your action on them. Okay. The reality is, life is more complicated than you want it to you think it is, in the sense that no one owes you respect. Respect is earned. Respect is given. You can't demand respect from people. And when it all comes down to it, you can't control the consequences of your actions. And this is where this entire case is so tragic, because in the mind of one person, I'm gonna just push them, I'm gonna just fight them. In the mind of someone else, I'm so afraid I'm gonna try to stab them. I'm gonna stab them because I don't think I can win. And neither one of those responses are appropriate. That's the reality. Neither one of the responses are appropriate, because this is not talking about, I've heard no one on these conservative channels, on these liberal woke channels, no one's talking about conflict resolution. What could Austin have done differently? What are you teaching your kids about putting their hands on? Don't touch people. Period. You're not allowed to touch people. That's like me saying, "Oh, I saw this pretty girl. She had on this nice little dress. It was so skimpy. I just flipped the skirt up. Well, she shouldn't have had a little dress on, right? No, you can't do that. You can't do that, right? So what do they call? They call that victim. What is that? Victim blaming. They don't even want to acknowledge that Karmelo is a victim who used excessive force. They can't even speak that phrase. The reality is the victim. If I'm writing this police report, Karmelo Anthony is the victim. Austin Metcalf is the suspect, but he's the victim of excessive force. He's a suspect of assault and battery, alleged battery. If he punched him, but that's what it is. That's how it is. That's the reality of it. He's a victim of excessive use of force. And so the way I was raised, my father, my mother taught me, don't touch people unless you want to be touched back. And you can't argue and complain about how another person decides to react or respond to your aggression. Oh, it was just a push. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you come out in the real world, people educate you. You go to another country, people educate you really fast. Hey, don't put that camera in my face. It's my camera. And next thing you know, you're hanging upside down on a bridge with your throat cut. Okay, true story. You can't. This is this Eurocentric mentality that I can do what I want to do because I'm me. I'm an American. I'm this. I can do. My family. Blah blah. Like this is ego, man.
I got freedom.
It's borderline narcissistic. I can do what I want because why can't I? It's like it doesn't even transpire to some people's mind, So, listen, let me end with that. Let me bring up another guest in the back, man. I appreciate your thoughts on this, brother, as always. And we're gonna link up, man. Once we I gotta get my wheels running, man. But I appreciate you as always, man. It's good to see you again, brother.
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's see. Okay, Michi, let me get your thoughts. I'm gonna bring Michi up. Michi, how come we ain't get no video action? You be on stream, you be live streaming for 8 hours.
That's why I be live for 8 hours. Today is my off day, and if I turn on this camera, I look like it's my off day. I got this bonnet on, and then they're gonna be like, "See how ghetto black people is."
Oh my God! Ain't nothing wrong with the bonnet.
I'm not coming on here with my bonnet. Y'all see that picture on the circle? There I go.
They be this picture nice though. They be okay, I see what the slick back. Yeah, I saw your previous live stream, and you always got me cracking up. Your energy is always next level.
That's a nice way of putting it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was next level, and I thought it was interesting because you started talking about folks emailing you. I got the emails too, and people sending dissertations. Okay.
Yeah, like how they got that much time in their life invested in another person's opinion. If you don't agree with me, just disagree and move on. I never understood that.
Disagree and move on. That's it. You guys, listen. Hit the link, and you're more than welcome to come up and have the discussion. So, okay. So, Michi, what's your questions for me? What you think? Anything about this case that you feel like you're curious about from like a law enforcement perspective, or if you just want to get my thoughts in general.
Well, no, it's funny because me and you, we get to talking about Black people and crime and racism, and a lot of times we bump heads, right? And when I was doing my live the other night, people kept saying, "What about Nathan Daly's live?" And I'm his video, and I'm like, I haven't seen this video. So when they kept mentioning your name, I still haven't seen it, but I saw you were live. But I'm listening to your perspective now. But the way they made it seem like I was going to be upset with you, we actually agree. I mean, we have this love-hate relationship, but from a criminal justice perspective in law, that is my background in education. I agree with you, and people are mad because they want me to let them be delusional. Right. They don't want me to deal with the facts of what's going to happen in this case.
Right.
It's like, oh, we should support him. He's going to be fine. Okay. So because you say that means he's going to be fine. I think that's why we don't deal with issues head on, because you don't want to be honest about the reality of it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm sad this boy threw his life away. If there's anything I can say that I don't like about the situation in our community is that, of course, we always have the people who are taking the other sides. I watch a lot of people that are Black talk about how they bought a house and they did all this with their money. I don't know if you saw the press conference, but they've actually not even had the money released to them.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And so I've been on my hunt. I've been all over his family's pages on Facebook, and her husband, his father, they seem to be a really beautiful couple. They've been together for a very long time, since they were young. It seems like the father is a hard worker, and they've always had really nice things. So it's not like they're begging for this money for their life to be better. I'm offended by that. That people say that. But the one thing I don't like that I see in our community that we're saying about this case is it's like there are some people who are cheering on what he did. It's kind of like, he took one for the team, and that's what you get, and this is how we should stand against white racism when it comes against us. It's like, why you so quick to throw away this baby? For everybody that talks about Black empowerment and is screaming that narrative online, it's like you want to take his tragedy and act like this is something that's Black empowerment, but none of you will go to the front line and sacrifice your life. But you an adult. Children. Right, but you preaching about this baby. To me, it shows me y'all don't care about kids, because I'm sad that he's thrown his life away. I agree with you. I think that we know that the murder charge is a overreach. They're not going to get that, but that's what they do. They charge you with something higher, so the plea deal will land right where they want you. Right. And so it is manslaughter. But even if he only gets 5 years, let's say, his life is still never going to be the same. He is a honor roll student. He is a star athlete. He is 17 years old. He's going to miss some very vulnerable times in his life that he should be socializing in society. He has to also deal with, I don't think people have realized this, and maybe you can speak to this, because as a police officer, I'm sure you've seen death and lots of tragedy, but killing someone is not an easy thing, even if you're in the right. This is why, as officers, when you guys are in the right, but you kill somebody, even if you're right and you're justified, we won't talk about the times they're wrong, but when you're right, y'all have to go through therapy, do you not, before they release you back to work, because that can be taxing on someone. And so everybody feels like, oh, well, he got new Jordans, he got a house, they got this car. Even if all of that was true, like, I hope people don't think that their family is at home right now, like just eating pizza, decorating and shopping, and that this boy sleep well at night. I'm sure he sees Austin's face a lot. I'm sure that what happened replays in his mind a lot. I'm sure that he's going to need a lot of help psychologically for what happened. So I'm not ever cheering. And this is why I question some of us that say, oh, we're about our Black community. And people are mad at me because I'm not cheering this Black boy's life being thrown away. I wish he could have handled it different. I wish that the scenario went down different. And like I keep saying to them, I'm sure that he wishes. Now, hindsight is 2020. His family, he wishes it went down different. So, but people are mad for me saying that. I'm not never finna cheer this on. I'm not. I did email you. I text you something though. You probably didn't see it because you're on the computer.
Yeah.
So his family put up some information about what actually happened. They're kind of hinting at it, and I sent it to you so you could see it, because if that is the scenario, And that's the way that they go. And based on the videos that come out,
Mm.
he may have a good chance of getting off with self-defense. So if you look at the post, that's his family member. He says that they do know each other before this situation, that they've had
Ooh.
prior, you know, this is not the first time he's had a run-in with the twins. So
Interesting.
yeah. And they said
Okay.
that they did not just come up to him in the tent and tell him to leave, that they actually tried to take his belongings, like his bag and stuff, and they took his cell phone and threw it on the ground and broke it. They stumped on it. So they destroyed his property as well. So it wasn't just a like, get out the tent thing. Now, I don't know if this is true, but this is his cousin or his uncle.
Oh,
That's
I think I saw something like that. A relative, a family member
and they got
mentioned
pictures of him from the time he was a kid. So this is definitely his
it's
family member.
accurate. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. And I probably when I think when that came out, there was so much foolishness going out. And you know me, I like to be accurate as possible, and I don't like to
That
report on
should
the
be your middle
gossip.
name.
You know what I mean? Right? So let me see. Real talk with Tammy. I see you. Give me 1 second, sis. I'm gonna bring you up. But yeah, no, I'm gonna look at it. And my phone is like 2 arms lengths from me. But yeah, I'm gonna look at that because I am curious and I'm anxious to see how this unfolds, you know, and I want to be able to educate everybody on what this looks like. And but when you get the video, let me know. I try to do a little something special, something different. When you check it out, you gotta let me know what you think. I put a
I'm
little
gonna
extra
I
sauce.
like your you have to forgive me for not knowing, but crime classroom, is that what you call
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
I like it. I like it. And I was looking at your videos like, all this hard work paying off. You blowing up. You out there get more views than me. I'm proud of
Listen,
you.
listen. The struggle is real. You know, you've seen it
But you
from day
made it.
one.
You made it to the other side of the struggle. You
Woo,
are
man.
officially a YouTuber.
Woo, made it. Never would have made it.
So
Listen.
I am gonna go watch the video, but I hear your perspective from it. I want to
Okay.
say this and then I'm going to let somebody else come up, but I would be not doing my cause or our people any justice if I did not also mention the
Mhm.
tons of racism. People want to talk about, you know, this. I don't know if it started because of racism. I don't know that because of course we take our kids, we go to the suburbs, some of us do, and you
Right.
have your kids in these predominantly white areas of schools. They're just, you know, if they're going to get into it with people, it's going to probably be white kids or of other races. So I don't know if this started off of racism, but man, I watched
Woo,
the misinformation. I have never
woo,
seen so many white racist YouTubers come down my timeline,
woo.
but because this is in the algorithm, they are
Yes.
just saying the most ridiculous stuff
Ridiculous.
about
Yeah.
this boy and his family. And nobody is talking about, you know, the fact that like this boy walked up on him trying to tell him what to do. First of all, and let's be clear too, the twins are not athletes at all. Now, Karmelo is an athlete. That's why he was
Mhm.
there. The twins are not athletes. So why they talking about get from under somebody's tent? You're not even an athlete, bro. You're not supposed to be under any of these tents. Okay. So why don't you go away? But nobody said anything about him approaching him. And one thing that was brought to my attention, there's another case. Of a
Yes.
white boy from
Yep.
2022. And people
Yep.
keep
I
bringing it up,
saw
so
it.
I had to go look at it. And it's
Yeah.
a white boy who actually brought a knife to school. Now we have to remember what happened with Karmelo and this and Austin. This was not on school grounds. This was
That's right.
a community park where they put together a school event. And so at school, this boy brought a knife, and it was a Hispanic boy. They actually were fighting in the bathroom. They
No, I'm
say that
familiar.
the Hispanic boy, I guess,
Yeah.
was the aggressor. The other boy
Hmm.
did not want to fight, and he pulled
Hmm.
out the knife and he killed him. And his bond was $175,000.
Yep.
And nobody in all these white people that are out here outraged, this fake outrage, right?
Fake
Um,
outrage.
yeah, that shows that you're really just a person with you know, you're not using your logic, you're using your emotion, and your emotion tells me that you're very biased and you probably don't like black people from what
Exactly.
I'm hearing. Because everything they're saying about Karmelo, actually, some of those things don't apply to him, but all of those things they're saying applies to this boy. So why are we not upset with the white boy whose bond was ridiculously low, even lower than Carmelo's 250,000? Why are we not upset that he actually had a knife on school grounds for real? And you know, how come nobody is calling him a murderer, even though, you know, he wasn't the aggressor, just like Karmelo is not the aggressor? So I don't know. I will tell you that this case, if we just sit back, it has become so much more than this case. It's
been
actually
polarized.
showing us people's perspective. It's showing us the division in our country, and it is showing you that racism still exists, right? From lots of levels. But I think if anything, it's showing us much more than who Karmelo is or who Austin even was, if we stop and pay attention, because the stuff I've been seeing is ridiculous as hell, real ridiculous.
No, it's sad. We definitely got to do a different video on this and just kind of talk about the backlash and the outrage. I think it's worthy of a conversation because it's deeper than them two. People have made it bigger than them two, right? They've made it about their own personal feelings about other people and about the situation. And but I think it definitely requires a deep dive because there's a lot of things that were so said and even assumptions on other Black people, right? That they have for Black people, like, I bet he came from a single parent household, and I bet, and all of these things are false, right? And it's just, and I tell people all the time, just deal with the facts that we have. Stop trying to add your statistics and all this. There's a time and a place for that, and this isn't it, So I think we should definitely have that conversation, Meech. I think it'd be great for us to have it, whether on my channel, your channel. I'd love to have the discussion.
Well, I believe we could probably do it on both. If we use StreamYards, I think there's a way. Like, I have to figure it out because somebody's done it before. But we can actually connect. We can stream. We can do it in stream from both channels at the same time. Okay. I was actually thinking that too, but I didn't know what your time zone was at this point.
I know, right? I'm
like when I'm live, it's morning time for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. But all right, let me pull these people back up here.
All right.
I don't wait too long. And I appreciate you coming up, love, as always. But we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Okay. All right. Real talk with, is that Tammy? Tammy about to bring you up. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing pretty good. This has been pretty, I say, hard of a day for me with all of the information that has been coming out. And I feel initiated by people that I have shared their content. I'm talking about conservatives. So, and I'm pulling up at my house now, and I said, Lord, I done wrote all their names down, and I have a long list to really call them out because they have incited racism.
Yes.
And the child has not even been indicted, and for me, going all my 66 years of life, never.
Who's 66?
Really, I'm 66. I'm a mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and I have never, to be honest with you, in my life, felt the racism. Never, ever in my life, because of me being a child of God. I know who I am, and nobody ever even, I think, even attempted. But now me seeing it on such a large scale like this, with people who also look like us, who are classified as Christian conservatives, they have ignited this thing to a level that is just, I'm believing they're now operatives of something, being paid or something. This is crazy. But I listened to what Austin's mother said. She said Austin was always the one to go and handle a situation. And I'm like, what situation needed to be handled? And then I listened to what Hunter Metcalf said, his brother. He said, we encountered an altercation. And I'm thinking, okay, these are 2 6'1", 220 some pound boys. And as you had stated, 5'9", maybe he was taller, but he's a little thin boy, Karmelo. So that could have been a very threatening situation. It's all on video. I don't know how come we have these, I don't even want to call them conservative because they're criminal in my mind, putting this young man's family out there like that. Even the judge, she's a conservative judge. But one guy who calls himself a pastor said she reduced it because she's black and Carmelo is black. I mean, I'm like, what is wrong with these
Which is
people?
false. Which is
It is
false.
just all
Yeah.
the false narratives, the home and all of this kind of stuff,
Crazy.
irresponsible, because
Crazy.
if they're conservative content creators, they have access to the same information that everybody else has,
Yep.
and they've been given no discovery, so I don't know where they're coming with. He's guilty. I mean, even Officer Brandon Tatum said he's guilty. I'm like, oh no. So I got all of their names down, and I'm gonna go live, and I'm calling them all out. Charlie Kirk, all of these people.
I was shocked with Matt. What's his name? Matthew Knowles, or what's his name? He was the first person I saw. Matt Knowles. He's supposed to be Christian.
Yes.
And I was shocked. You know, when I made my video, I'm not gonna lie, I felt so convicted that I needed to pray. It's the first time I ever prayed on a video. Normally I pray before I do videos. I pray to myself. I have, Lord, just guide me through this conversation. Speak through me. Don't let me speak.
Yes, correct.
But this has been, I got the same reaction you got. I was so hurt by the wickedness coming out of people's mouths. The hypocrisy coming out of people's mouths.
Total and complete hypocrisy.
I was so blown away by the hatred and the vitriol.
Yeah.
It's almost as if Satan was using them as mouthpieces to speak.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, it moved me in a way where I said, you know what? I want to do this video. And I said, I'm always very neutral because I come from a place of educating.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, just take all of my own personal views out of it. Now, listen, I said, I'd have locked the brother up. Okay. I'd have locked him up. That's my job. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it properly.
Right.
I'm going to do it properly. And there's a way to go about doing it. And it's a way to look at evidence. And I'm looking at the police report and I'm thinking to myself, I see attorneys who call themselves attorneys, who you could hear the hatred in their voice when they're going over the information. And I said, this is bias.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at this attorney. How did you get that? And I read the same thing you read in that police report. And I see all the flaws in this police report that you are purposely looking over because you've already made up your mind.
Yeah. A total rush to judgment. And what I'm seeing, I mean, it's almost like a public lynching of this child. I'm like, oh no, Father. And I prayed on it last night when I first saw it. And then today I saw so much more. And so God just had me to start writing names. I'm taking names and I'm going to call them all out.
True colors being exposed. One thing that you said that got me immediately when I found out, shout out to you, daughter of Yash. She said true colors are being exposed. She's one of my members on the channel, always supporting. She's always had my back.
I'm so glad I found you. I just found you today. I'm like,
thank you. Yeah, check out the video I did on it. It's the first video I did on it. It's not long, but take a look and let me get your thoughts. You can comment on it there, and I'm definitely curious. What's the name of your channel? You have a channel as well?
I have not yet started my channel. It will be Real Talk with Tammy Cooper here.
Okay, Real Talk with Tammy. Listen, if you need any help or any advice on putting the channel together or kind of walking through, email me and I got you. I whatever I could do, any advice I can give. Listen,
sounds good.
So
they didn't pull me up, and I mean, I'm just because I just been kind of going lightly. I thought God was giving me something to help women, all women, especially 60 years and plus, know who they are, because I see so many women struggling and everything. And I was just kind of just taking it easy, how, asking God to give me the platform that he wants me to have, and never thought it would be addressing, anything like this. But I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, a great grandmother, and of males, and so I just thank God no weapon formed against them shall ever prosper in this manner. And so I see this child and his family being denigrated, and especially by these Black men. And now I'm thinking, they must not like who they are. They must not be comfortable in the skin God gave them to always be, down on blacks, always. And then, like you said, they first he comes from a broken home. I wish, and I don't know if you've looked into Jeffrey Metcalf. Why do they have two separate GoFundMe? The mother has
I saw
one,
that.
and he has one, and he's gained more money than the mother. So
Yeah, I saw that. I have access as an officer, as a former officer, I have access to ways of getting information, and I pulled up some stuff on the father. And the only reason why I didn't release it or try to make anything about it, because I don't want to fan any flames of hatred. I don't want anybody taking information that I have to fuel their ignorance, and pushing more hatred across. And so, I want my content to be something that can be used, that they can actually take. And, if they react to it, they're reacting to information that's coming from a place of wisdom, a place of guidance, not a place of anger, hatred. It's just non-biased information and how to properly analyze the evidence so that we don't rush to judgment. And to help them understand that there is a possibility for a self-defense case, and there's areas where there's not a possibility. What does the law say, and how does that actually work? And so, but this stuff going on, this is a whole gossip train of hatred that's being spewed on both sides, and it's very, very disturbing. And it just goes to show how fragile and weak a lot of people are, because this hatred is being incentivized. It's financially being incentivized. And people are everyone's just trying to put out information to see who can be the first. And no one cares about accuracy. No one cares about the truth. And they don't care how it's impacting these people's lives. These are real people who are being impacted by this. It's not a game. I don't think it's a joke at all, and it's just very sad. It is. It's very sad.
Very sad. Thank you so very much for, just letting me vent that little bit. I really needed that. And I thank you. And yes, I'll be tuning in, and I'll also reach out to you when God gives me the actual direction. Yes. Thank you.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
It was a
God
pleasure.
bless. Yes,
God bless you. You guys, that's Real Talk with Tammy Cooper. She's coming out soon. That was a good kind of like pre-introduction for you guys. All right. So please be on the lookout for her. And she has my blessings, and I pray that she moves forward with this channel and she does everything she needs to do and make it happen. And I'm gonna be here wherever she needs. She got my resources and my knowledge. I don't know everything. I know a little bit about YouTube. Sheesh. But yeah, so this is good. I want to pull up Rainy Fox. I see you, Rainy Fox. I see you. Rainy Fox, do you have a camera? Can you go on cam for me? And make sure you're a real person. People acting crazy on YouTube. Okay, I see you. I'm about to pull you up. And then I want to, give me 2 minutes. Let me go through these questions, Rainy Fox. You got time? Give me a thumbs up if you got a little time. Rainy Fox, you got a little time? Okay, Rainy Fox, let me see. And then Joe A, I see you. Let me hit these questions real quick, and then I'll bring you up. I just want to see what people are asking. Why do you think Anthony was expelled from school today? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the school policies are. I mean, he was involved. I don't know if that was a school-related event. Okay, if it's a school-related event, every school, I can't answer that, because every school has different policies. I remember when I was younger, I got in a fight outside of school and got suspended. Okay, so everybody's school policy is different, and this is Texas. I don't know how they operate. At the same time, that was a school-sponsored event. I believe that's a school-sponsored event, meaning the school is connected. They're wearing school paraphernalia, so they are still they're still under school rules. All right, so that's a good question. Let me see. Next one, real quick. Where do they get the height and weight from the police report? Good question. It could be the police asked him directly and he told him, or they got it from his ID. All right. Let's see. Question: did I miss the Luigi talk? I emailed you about a couple times. I'm the emperor of all Joe. No. We're gonna have the Luigi stream. We're gonna have it. We haven't had it yet. Shout out to you. We're gonna have it. General Nutsack. I forgot. I got you. Let's see. Question: can not knowing how to fist fight be justification for using a weapon? No, it cannot. But what can be justification for using a weapon is fighting someone who can fight. For example, if I pulled over Mike Tyson and I know it's Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson is not complying, I got to shoot Mike Tyson. Okay, you guys? Why? I'm not even going to try to do it. Why? Mike Tyson is on record being the strongest boxer who will knock you clear out. Okay, I don't need to guess it. So as an officer, our use of deadly force is subjected to the circumstances of the situation. If you jump out and you are 6'5", okay, you're the bad guy, you're 6'5", you get out the car and you're solid, stocky, and you're like, I'm not going to jail, but you have a warrant for your arrest, and the officer is a female who is 5'9", guess what? You're getting shot that day, okay, and it's going to be justified. Why? Because the law looks at your physical stature. The law looks at your ability to be able to subdue a person. Is it possible this person is trained in martial arts? They're military trained. They're XYZ. The threat level goes up. You don't have to be armed, you guys. Why? Because you got arms. Your hands and feet are weapons. Okay, contrary to what you believe, you are a walking deadly use of force. Your hands. And so when people say he was unarmed, he didn't have weapons. He got hands. Okay, he got hands. The hands can cause great bodily harm or death. Okay, if you have someone choking you out, they don't have no weapon, but you're getting choked. Guess what? You can shoot them. All right, you can shoot them. Okay, so that is a real thing. That's a real thing. Next question. Karmelo was there heckling the other team. According to Austin's brother, who was there, would that not be significant? No. It's not. It matters, but it's not significant. It matters because it explains why Austin and his brother wanted to confront him. Okay, what's your reason for going over there? Now we know the reason. What's the motive for going over there, asking him to leave? The motive was he was disturbing the peace of the tent. He was heckling the team, and he's not a part of the team. Okay, he's heckling the team, and he's sitting in the team's camp heckling them. Okay, so if that's what happened, that's motive. My motive, meaning my reason for going over there telling him to leave, was because he was talking trash. Okay, yeah, that's a reason why he went over there. But heckling at a sports event is not a crime, right? That's like you getting mad at the other team telling you, don't make the basket, right? I hope you break a leg, right? I mean, that's heckling. So it's expected, you guys. It's expected. It's not encouraged. But are you going to get mad when someone is telling your team to lose? No, that's part of sports. It's called sports. So it matters, but it's not significant because it's not illegal. Couldn't he have been there provoking some trouble? I mean, yeah, but you have to ask what's illegal and what's not legal, right? The real question you should be asking is, what did he do that was unlawful? Not what did he do that irritated us? Irritating someone is not a crime. If it was, we'd have a lot of people in jail, right? And that's just that's just the reality. We have to start asking these questions from a law perspective. Where was the coach? Apparently watching it unfold. Good old Texas. Shout out to you, daughter, y'all. Intent to kill will be hard to prove. Yes, it will be hard to prove. Question: intent to kill will be hard to prove. Yes, it will be hard to prove because you have to prove intent. But if he knew them, they had prior incidents, that changes everything. Could be considered intent. Question: can Hunter be charged with his brother's murder? They had to have been committing a felonious act. They had to have been committing a felonious act. And nobody would dare do that. Could you imagine? The optics of that would be crazy. I've had cases like that where we've had two people who broke into a house. We had two people who broke into a house. Rainy Fox, I'm about to bring you up. You ready? And Joe, I see you. George, I see you. Rainy Fox, you cut your camera. I'm about to pull you up on the screen. Rainy Fox, you ready? Rainy Fox. Okay, here you go. Rainy Fox, here we go. You ready? We ready?
I actually wanted to hide myself. Okay, that's what I was doing. So I am so not into the camera thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm so not into it. I'm a real person. I even have a channel, but and I don't show my face on
go
there.
Ahead. You good?
I mean, I may look okay, but it's like I have to have lights, camera, action.
You're fine. You look fine.
No, but you're supposed to do all the lighting properly and stuff like that.
My lighting is horrible.
Oh my God, how do I look? I'm so self-conscious, and that's why I don't do the camera thing. But since you've made me do the camera thing, I'm just going to go ahead and talk because I don't even do it on my own channel. I'm like so self-conscious.
Oh no, you good. But sometimes we listen. I am too. Look at my hair. I got a little cone head going on. I got the brother.
Nate, I'm almost about to have a panic attack. I always watch you. We went back and forth with Luigi. I'm the rainy person. You and I went back and forth with that.
Okay.
Love it, love it, love it. And I was telling you about we talked about the plane crash in the DMV. That might ring a bell. Yes. I was the one giving you some insight. That's me, Rainy. Okay, so
listen, hold on. Before you say that, before you say that, because of my video on that topic, they wiped my entire TikTok channel out. I had millions of views.
I had nothing to do with that. I was in the comments. I know you didn't. Not you. I didn't cam up. Okay, you didn't have me camming up, and I wouldn't tell you no secret. I was shooting you the 411.
Oh my bad! I blew it. I gave my source away.
Oh my goodness!
Well, we're here now. We're here. So tell me your thoughts.
Quickly.
Okay.
To me, it reminds me of Daniel Penny's case in reverse.
Yes.
And the reason I say in reverse is because we do not know, was Karmelo the initiator? Did he initiate anything? Outside of being there, as you said, it's a game sport. Children during high school go to different games. It doesn't make a difference. It is what it is. That's number one.
Right.
What I don't like that I'm seeing, and I may, throughout the course of time, do a video on it. I do not know. I tried to stay away from the subject because I already knew it was going to take off flight and go in the direction of you're not entitled to due process. You're not entitled. Well, that's what we're seeing. He's not entitled to be innocent until proven guilty. And unfortunately, in this country, they have a long history of that. And that's why I didn't want to really watch. But today I ended up watching. Now I wanted to stay away from, believe it or not. Today I ended up watching the press conference only to find out that Metcalf's dad came before he came, which ended up delaying. However, I like what the preacher or reverend or representative said. He is considered guilty before proven innocent. And we don't live in that country. That's Britain. That's Great Britain. Okay. But it appears that every time we have a high profile case, for whatever the reason, it's a Black person and a white person that's American. All of a sudden, we have these stereotypes assigned, such as they bought a house with the money and they hadn't even got the money. They cleared that up. Basically, it's the press conference. Yeah, it's the press conference that really started making me get involved with the case. So what I don't like is that he's not considered innocent until proven guilty. And the whole basis of this country was founded on overthrowing the Queen of England. And England and Great Britain, you are still guilty until proven innocent. Okay. In America, you are innocent until proven guilty. So obviously we're dealing with a Black and white dynamics because he is Black. He obviously is guilty. And here's another thing. I don't like the fact that he had a weapon of any kind. I was in the military. I don't like the fact that he had a knife. I think your point that you made about they didn't even describe what the knife looked like is very, very important, because it could have been a butter knife. We don't know. And that's very important. But I don't like the fact that he even had one. I really wish it ended up being a fist fight, and then we'd see it play out, but it didn't play out in this way. So who was the initiator? That's the key point. But it reminds me of Daniel Penny, possibly in the reverse, because I do not see a 3.7 grade point average high school student being a bully. They're too busy folk. And you understand, in America, regardless of what you think about our public education, it takes a lot of focus to reach the 4.0. You don't just reach it. You don't fall into it. Okay, so I don't know what his prerequisites were. Was it basket weaving? Did he just get by with that? Because there's some things he has to take, like history and science and math, the basics, in order to get there. And he's carrying it forward so much to the point. I mean, we've all been in high school before, and some people have to count on that last single month to get one more class, one more grade in order to graduate. The representative in the press conference pointed out he did not have to wait for that. He's already earned his credits, and yet the high school is considering not allowing him to graduate. So they pointed that out in the conference. Again, I didn't like that. So again, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. They fought and fought and fought for Daniel Penny. The case reminds me of that. In the reverse, because Daniel was the initiator. He could have just left him alone and pushed him off the train when the train stops. And see, I was in the military airborne. He's a Marine. That immediately said to me a lot. I'm sorry. Yeah. A lot was said by that alone. And the fact that
he was discharged, wasn't he?
I didn't get it. I was going back and forth, whatever you were saying. I didn't even, if you didn't delve in it, I didn't check it, but I know military. So I know when he had him in that particular lock position, he knew what the outcome could be as a trained Marine. And that is what they didn't hyper focus on. But Daniel was innocent until proven guilty. So why not Karmelo Anthony? And those are my comments. Point blank, period. Maybe if you beefed up my confidence, maybe I can get on the cam now. I can cam it up now. Maybe
listen, practice.
Oh, no. I can't practice. It's got to be real. It's got to be me. It's got to be everything. But I'm just saying. So
I appreciate it.
I don't like where the direction of the commentary of how they're trying to frame the family. And it's clear that it's black and white. And I did a post on Twitter talking about framing. And obviously we do not or have not reached true equity, because if we had reached true equity, there would be far less people threatening the family. And they're in Texas. I know Texas like I do Oklahoma. Okay. Threatening the family. And we all know the outcomes of that. We've got 500 years of history to prove what the outcomes can be. It's to be taken very seriously. And so that's the only thing I'm saying. I don't know where this is going to go, like we all don't. And I'm glad you pointed out that they already have a video. We need to see the video. But please allow this Black American man to be considered innocent until proven guilty, like the founders of this country, so rightly so, fought Great Britain to overthrow them during the Civil War and establish laws in this country under the Constitution, making you innocent until proven guilty. And those are my comments. That's it.
I love it. No, thank you. Thank you for that. I love it.
Tell everybody to go to my channel.
Yeah, what's your channel? Shout your channel out.
It's Rainy Fox.
Rainy Fox?
Media. I didn't put the media in there. But I haven't done any commentary. I don't do it like you do, but I love engaging with the Luigi case. I love the fact that you're thinking objectively. I love the fact that it's not a black or white thing. I can get into that. When you're trying to work up my emotions based on color, that's not cool to me. When you're talking about very life, serious situations. And this is serious because it involved two young men that were about to go out in
start
life.
their life.
Exactly.
Start their life. No,
exactly.
for sure.
Thank
you guys,
you.
please go and check her out. If you could put your channel in the chat for me, and I'll have the moderators.
I will. I don't post a lot, but I do already have my fan base that every time I post, they show up. Thank goodness.
That's what's up.
And yeah, we'll be talking soon.
All right, we'll talk later. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Rainy Fox, I love it. I appreciate you. Joe A, I see you. I'm gonna bring you up, and then George, you're next. Joe A, you got a camera. You be able to cam up for us. And before I bring you up, Joe, let me read these questions real quick, and I'm gonna bring you up. Some people putting questions in the chat. Let me make sure. Try to make sure I don't miss any. If I passed yours or missed yours, please, you guys, please throw it back up for me. I'm operating one computer and one good arm. Actually, here go a question here. Here go a question here. All right, let me get these questions real quick. Question: can he get his record sealed? No, he's not a juvenile. He can't get his record sealed. That's only for juveniles. There's a lot of people making actual threats on social media. Can they get in trouble for that? If you can catch them, if the threat is significant enough, they can find them, you guys, and yes, they can prosecute. But it has to be significant for them to go after them. Let's see. Real Talk with Tammy Cooper. Yep, shout out to Tammy Cooper from earlier. Let me see. Let's see. Mac Truck. I see you, Reboot. I'm gonna bring you up too. Give me 1 second. Question: can Hunter be charged with his brother's murder? Went over that. They're not going to do that. He needs to have been like a felonious event for them to even consider that. Question: can Hunter be charged? Damn, I just read that. All right. Same question. What else? Why would a high school age schooler be carrying a weapon at a school function? I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, that's kind of irrelevant. To be honest, it's not as big of a deal as people like to try to make it out to be. We don't know what type of knife that was. We don't even know if it's an illegal knife. But him having it is not really that big of a deal that people are trying to make it out to be honest. Y'all are really, really overemphasizing that knife. Did you play high school sports? Would your team have been okay with a person from another team? No. I didn't play sports, but I did martial arts. But here's the thing. You're asking a question about people's personal feelings, and we're talking about the law, right? Again, yeah, he should have been upset. You could be upset that someone's there. The question is, if you are an adult, Nicholas, as an adult, what would you tell your child to do? That's the question. Answer that question for me. What would you tell your child to do if they were in Austin's position? And then inside that discussion, Michi says, what do you think about Austin's father showing up at Karmelo's family press conference and being kicked out? I think out of respect for the situation, Austin's father should have reached out to the parents and asked if it was okay for them to be present out of respect, right? But I don't think he should have been kicked out. I think that should have been a conversation. And if the parents said they didn't feel comfortable with him being there, then he should respect how they feel, right? That's my personal take on it. I wouldn't have made a spectacle about it. I don't like the way how the attorney kind of try to broadcast it. I don't think that was necessary, right? I think the attorney is a little overzealous in my personal opinion. I wouldn't have done that. I don't think it was necessary. Can you defend yourself with an illegal weapon? Yes, you can defend yourself with an illegal weapon, you guys. For example, let me do a quick little example. I had a case where a guy was in his house. Someone broke into his house. He's a convicted felon. There's a gun in the house. He used that gun as a convicted felon to defend his home. Guess what? It's legal. Okay. We've had cases before where an underage minor had a gun that was given to him by the parent to use in self-defense. The kid used it in that moment because they were being attacked, and the kid wasn't charged. Okay, we have Kyle Rittenhouse, who was a minor. Well, he was underage. He was unlawfully carrying a rifle. He took it out of state. He went patrolling like he was a damn security guard, guarding property that doesn't belong to him, and he shot and killed 3 people. Okay, he was unlawfully in possession of a firearm that they managed to finesse the code section to make him not be charged with that, but it was unlawful for him to have, and but he used it for self-defense. So because you have an illegal weapon doesn't mean it can't be used in self-defense. That's a great question. Question: Can Hunter be charged? Did that one? Someone asking the same question. How did this happen? All right. Please finish your thoughts. sorry, my thoughts run on. Anyways, okay, Joe, bringing you up, brother. You ready?
What's up, bro?
What's good? How you doing? You got a sticker on the
I'm doing
board.
well, man. I'm coming to bring a different perspective a little bit,
right, let me hear
it. First off, you're gonna hear my accent. I'm not from the United States. I do live in Gwinnett County, Georgia, though.
All right.
And I've been following all of these cases for a while now, man. And honestly, when I think about what's transpired with Karmelo, okay, and I think about the actual stabbing, the actual act of stabbing somebody. It gave me a lot of flashbacks of home. Growing up, for me, there's a lot of knife crime. Like,
that's correct.
Like from the age of 10, like people getting stabbed. There's a lot of people that I know who are killed mainly through stabbing.
Right.
Accidental stabs inside of the thigh, underneath the armpit, neck stabs. A lot of people that get stabbed in the chest, right? Because we know this, people that get stabbed in the chest, a lot of them, when they get stabbed in the chest, they're usually aiming at the head, right? And that's what I really, it's sad, but I'm looking forward to hearing what evidence comes out. So I am firmly wishing and hoping that Karmelo gets the right case, like a great judge, and he gets his full due process.
Okay.
What's been happening to the parents and his family is terrible as far as I'm concerned. I just don't understand why there's so much vitriol going to them, right? Like they seem like upstanding citizens as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know what's all that about. But anyway, without me babbling on anymore, right? So the school expelling Karmelo is wrong. That again takes away, he's basically, they're treating him as if though he's guilty. That's not correct. And actually, let me take a step backwards as well, because the lady before me mentioned that in the United Kingdom, it's guilty before innocent. That is absolutely false. I actually worked in a Royal Court of Justice for many years before I came here. That's not true. But in any case, I understand where she's going, though. Like the fact that he does deserve to have due process and should be considered innocent until proven guilty like anybody else, right? And then and then the final thing that I wanted to share was today, that reverend during the conference, he alluded to something about asking, did anybody ask a particular person about the weather and how much rain, because there was rain going on, right?
Right.
And what came to mind for me was, okay, well, I'm 17-year-old. I've been in those altercations. I have been stabbed. I spent time in hospital from being stabbed. I've also been on the other side. I've had to defend myself by stabbing, unfortunately, right? But this guy's in the tent and it's raining, and someone's telling you to leave the tent. You're not gonna leave the tent if it's raining because you don't want to get wet. Like if it's raining, you're gonna run underneath the tent. Now, I don't want to just create conjecture, right?
Right.
But if you're under a tent and it's raining, and then someone tell you get out the tent, that's even more ammunition to say, sorry, no, I'm not getting out the tent. I'm chilling here. Right. When it dies down, then I may leave. Right. So, and I'm not saying that that's what he was thinking. Now, he had the knife in his bag. Where I'm from, that happens a lot. If he has it in his bag, it doesn't mean that he's setting himself out there to stab someone. If he wanted to stab someone, he would have a proper pocket knife and he will have it on him. If he had the intention of stabbing somebody, right? He didn't flee the scene. He was found in the same vicinity, right? So if he fled, then you can say, right now, this guy, there's something wrong with him. Most people who do stab, okay, I can tell you this right now, people who stab and they stab willy-nilly, they just stab for the sake of stabbing, okay?
Yeah.
When they do that, they got something wrong with them. But if you're stabbing for self-defense, I'm telling you, it takes a lot to even still do it because it's so intimate. You're so close. It's easy to shoot someone from far away, but when you're stabbing someone and you're stabbing someone to protect yourself, I'm telling you, it takes a lot. That's why the next piece that came to my mind is that this 225 or 200 pound guy and 130 pound guy, and they're twins. Do you think they're going to have a one-on-one fight? Who actually thinks that, this one twin is going to have a one-on-one fight, right, with a 130 pounder? First of all, he's going to get beaten the hell out of, right? The 130, unless he's trained in some kind of martial arts, right? We know this. I also do martial arts too, so you know, right? He may win if he's trained, right? He's an athlete, okay? But if the twin is right there, do you actually think it's just going to be a normal one-on-one? That's not going to happen.
Well, it's funny you say that because when he was being interviewed, he stated, we got into a little altercation. He said, we got into a little altercation. When he was talking to his dad said, hey, my son Hunter told me everything about what happened. He said that this kid's name was Mello, and Mello was talking trash, okay, about the other team. He was heckling. And they asked him, hey, where are you from? You don't belong on here. You need to leave. And then the dad said this. Well, I'm not going to tell you what was said, and I'm not going to repeat what was said. So there's a whole lot of missing verbiage out of this. And what people don't understand is words have meaning, they have power, they have influence over a case like this. When you're talking about, were any threats being made? There were threats made. There were threats to remove somebody. Okay, well, how did you threaten them? Because that matters, and that lends to the self-defense. Because if you said that you were going to severely injure me, and then you move and make you set yourself up and you execute that on me, or you make movement towards me, the law states I don't have to wait for you to give me the punishment. I can defend myself prior to. So this is why this whole case is going to fall on what was actually said, what threats were made. Is it believable that this person could carry out this threat? Did the twin brother also participate in making threats? Because now people are mistaken and think that because you aren't threatened, right? But you're not the victim. You're not the suspect. You're not them. So you don't know what makes you fearful doesn't make me fearful. Okay. Tyson can walk up on you. You might not blink an eye. Mike Tyson walk up on me, bro. I am stepping back.
Absolutely.
Right? So to some people, they're not afraid. Everyone is trying to put their feet in the shoes of this young man. Not to say we agree with what he did. We're just saying that you can't speak for his level of fear, his interpretation of what was about to happen to him. You just can't. So what bothers me about all of these people speaking on this case, when it's convenient for them and it's a case that they like, a case that they resonate with, then you hear all the standards of law and the principles of law and due process for cases that they like. But anytime it's a case that they don't like or they choose to not align with, all of a sudden, all those things don't apply. And this is the hypocrisy. We saw this. I don't know if you heard, you saw what happened with Ben Shapiro. And
no, I didn't.
Yeah, he started becoming the exact thing that he always talked about, right? In a sense, he became a hypocrite. Right. And, blasting people for freedom of speech when he's a big freedom of speech, proponent. He's always talking about, we need to protect our right to say what we want to say until someone says something that you don't like, till someone says something that you don't agree with. All of a sudden, the Constitution doesn't apply to that person anymore. So due process, I would have appreciated if everybody looked at this case, conservatives or whoever these groups are, and said, you know what? From what I see, this doesn't look defensible, but we need to wait till all the facts come out. You know, from what we have right now, I don't know. That doesn't look good for him, but it's still innocent until proven guilty. We need to wait till all the evidence comes out before I make an opinion. No, they're like, he's guilty.
And that's the wrong part, man. They're saying, "Oh, murder, murder." And here's the thing: in Texas, right? They don't. There is no such thing as first-degree murder. They have capital murder. Capital murder is if you kill someone under the age of 10, kill a police officer, a firefighter, somebody like that. That's when you get the electric chair and all of that stuff, right? But then you have murder, which they charged him with, which is the equivalent to second-degree murder, right?
Whoa, no. They have first degree.
No, not in the Texas Penal Code. No, it's capital murder. That's their number one murder.
Wait. But you might be confusing it. You might be confusing it. What happens is they label things or they say things, but when you go into the actual legal code, they're actually organized, and structured. All right. So there's first degree murder, there's second degree murder in Texas, there's manslaughter. Okay. There's murder, like murder negligence or something like that. Okay. So to be clear, they do have murder. And let me clear that up because someone else might have the exact same question. Let me pull up. So I want to show because over here on this channel,
please do it, man.
We're about accuracy. Let me show you the code. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up just so we can see. How do I do this again? This whole thing changed out on it, brother. All right, okay. Is it this one? It's this one.
Yeah, that'd be good to get educated on that piece because that was my understanding that it literally was capital murder and then it goes down to murder. Then from murder it goes down to manslaughter, and that's why I was thinking he's more likely to get manslaughter than anything. Go ahead.
Let me see. Let me pull up the police report. Let me put up the arrest report.
130 pounds. I mean, come on. Tell me who's going to be willing to go and a 130-pound guy? That's like the size of the weight of a lady, right? To go and fight a 225 dude. That's not happening.
No,
that's not happening. No one can measure the amount of fear that was going on through him. We just need to we need to know what's really happening, man. I'm looking forward to hearing really what happened. I don't think that he's got that kind of that evilness in him to just go and stab willy-nilly.
But we don't know though. And that's the problem. The problem is
I just we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Let me see. I don't know how to actually do this. Give me 1 second. I have to do this. See, because I have one monitor.
Yeah, it makes everything a lot more harder.
Yeah, to share a screen and stuff. But
to be honest, I'll take your word for it. You're from here. You're in you're in that world. So, I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'll just go and
but I'm gonna show you where it's at real quick. I'm gonna show you where it's at real quick because I want everyone to see it. Because someone else had mentioned it too, and I just didn't have a chance to get to it. But let me just share this real quick so that everyone can see where it's listed and then also how to find it. So after we get off of here, definitely take a look. Does this give us? Can you see that pretty good?
No, I'm on my cell phone right now, so I can't really see it.
Oh, you're on the cell phone?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I'll do one better. Check this out. First degree.
Yeah, but being someone that's raised in Great Britain and stuff, raised in London, when the previous caller said, "Oh, it's guilty to proven innocent," nah, that's not how it works in Great Britain at all. It's not, man. And it's so ironic that the next speaker is someone from Great Britain, right?
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Damn, I can't even zoom in. Right under charge type is the list that says first degree murder. I can't even pull up the. Let me do it this way here.
Let me turn this around. Okay.
I'm gonna highlight. this charge. And let me see. Because I can't even, I feel bad. I can't even pull this thing up on here. Let me move this. Yeah, someone else was asking this before. So let me pull, hopefully, where I have it highlighted right here. Can you see?
Yeah.
So he's being charged with first
degree felony.
Yep. So when you go to the Texas Penal Code, it's broken into different categories. And when you read each category, it's first degree, second degree, then you have manslaughter. And they tell you all the different labels of homicide and what they mean and what the elements are for them. If I'm not mistaken, first degree is, I don't even want to, let me read it out because I have it actually. I have it. Where is my notes for Karmelo? Where are my notes for Karmelo? I should have had this up. That way I could read. But what do you, so before I let you go, I'm gonna bring up the next call. Let me get your thoughts on this. Do you think this is self-defense, or do you think it's manslaughter?
You think there's malice behind it and stuff? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Do you think this is self-defense, or do you think he should be charged with something, whether you know what it is or not? Do you think
what says to me it was self-defense is two things, right? And what do I know? I'm not like Columbo or somebody, right? But what it speaks in my spirit is the fact that he warned them. Yo, if you're coming here, I'm gonna do, try it. What did he say? What exactly did he say? He said,
do it and see what happens.
Oh my God, is that not a warning? That is a clear as day warning. Like where I'm from, we'll say, all right, well, you want to do that? Okay, come on then. Like you're gonna get something then.
So what do you say? What do y'all say out there in the UK? You say put up your dukes or what? What do y'all say? How do you say it?
Put up your dukes. Nah, man, we're a little bit more. Nah, man. Put up your dukes. That's not 1920s. Nah, it's just the same thing that you guys will say, but just transliterated. Like you might say, all right, what do you want? Like, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Like, but there's usually something that happens before the action, right?
Absolutely.
And if because I think it's defense because he said that. And then the last thing, I think he panicked as well when the police came and got him. Because again, he never ran. He didn't run away somewhere. He was in the same vicinity. He was in the school, well, in the bleachers and stuff where he got collected by the officer. And he, even though I don't believe he should have done it, right? He showed a little bit of naivety, but he shared what happened. Hey, man, like they put my hands on me. Was that self-defense? I think he was panicked there. And I actually do think it was a one hit. It wasn't multiple stabs. It was one. And that
matters too.
That's a big thing. Like if it's one, that is just like, leave me alone. If it's multiple, trust me, like there's guys who I grew up with, they will do multiple stabs. Like they will stab you multiple times. There's people get stabbed multiple times. Those people have got a screw loose. He did it once. That's why I think it's defense, man. But anyway, I appreciate you, man. You're doing great work, man. God is good. And I pray for all of these people who are just race baiting and trying. I mean, it's an emotional sickness that's going on here in the US, man. And it's sad to see, bro.
It's sad. No, it is. It is, man. It is. And I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for calling in and giving your insight. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care, man. Peace.
All right, bro. I love the accent. It's so cool. It's such a cool accent. And so you're putting up your dukes, man. Anyways, George, I'm about to bring you up, and then Reboot, I got you next. All right, George is up. George, you ready? Let's get your thoughts, George. Let's get your thoughts.
Okay.
How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, brother. Loud and clear.
Excellent. All right. So I just think it's a tragedy.
Okay.
It really pisses me off when I see young people, crime and everything, and like, he's got his whole life ahead of him, and that when I first heard about it, I was like, you got to go to jail. And then, as I'm reading more stuff into it, it looks to me like if he has a good lawyer, he could maybe argue self-defense. Because, what I'm hearing is that he was there already. You got like 10 different stories. He was sitting there already and they came into the tent. So it's like they instigated the whole thing. And he had to defend himself. But what's interesting to me is the parents, all this threatening and stuff. I remember, when everybody was on the internet and everything about 20 years ago, when Serena and Venus was playing. What I found fascinating was the comment section. I loved it because it told about America. I was just, okay, people would just let it rip. They was just winning and they could, whatever they did, America was like, no. It was pretty interesting.
Jealousy is a sickness. People don't want to admit that there are white people who don't like black people. They're disgusted by us. They hate our skin color. They hate our existence. They hate when we win. They hate when we're successful. And but what we have to also know is that that's not all white people, right?
It's not all white people, but it's a realization. You have to just go with the flow. I mean, you see what they're doing and understand what they're doing and keep it moving, Yeah, that's the way I operate. Like, that's how you think. That's interesting.
I was taught that there's two people in this world. There's good people and there's evil people. I was taught that there's only one race, the human race. Okay. There's good people and there's evil people. That's it. So when I see people who make those type of comments and they can just be disgusted about you because of your performance or because you're black or because you're different, whatever your skin color is, they just don't like you because of it. To me, that's a broken, evil person. I don't really care that you're white. I care about your heart. Your heart is the problem. Your mind is the problem. I look at you as being a broken soul. And that's how I look at you, And to me, I don't buy into that narrative. You're sick. You're a sick person and you need therapy. Bless your heart.
And I just stay away from it, whatever,
Man.
So, but it's interesting.
It's crazy. Let me get your thoughts on this. What do you think? Do you think this is self-defense?
I think it is.
Okay.
But it's manslaughter. Somebody passed away. Somebody left the earth, and
do you think
you got to pay for
using a knife is excessive force?
When you use a knife, it's kind of vicious, and it's not a good look. If he would have hit him and he hit his head and died, you know what I mean. But that knife is kind of vicious, and obviously, there was some incidents or whatever where he thought he had to protect himself, So I mean, it's the way it is,
What would you tell your son if your son was Austin Metcalf? What would you tell him to do in a situation like that? He wants a guy moved. He won't move. What are you telling him to do? What advice are you giving him?
Metcalf?
Yep.
Don't bother nobody. If somebody wants to sit there, let them sit there. Do not get into any type of trouble in high school.
What'd your parents tell you about putting your hands on people? What'd they tell you?
I used to, what's so funny? I used to wrestle. I used to be a beast since I'm on the internet.
I can see
nobody bothered me. Nobody bothered me because they thought I'd slam them or something. I didn't want to fight nobody. I just wanted to go to high school and leave. But they didn't bother me too much because they thought I was going to, lateral drop them or something. I thought, you know what I mean? I was going to wrestle them, Matt. So I had cover, So, nobody wants to be in the hall being tied up, by a wrestler. So, I was short, whatever, but nobody bothered me because, they was afraid of what would happen.
That's what's up. Okay, so lastly, let me say this. What advice would you have given Karmelo Anthony if he's in a situation like that? What advice would you give him?
Before this even happened, I would have told him, don't take nothing to school. I would have been on the case early on. If
he's being bullied, how do you handle bullies?
Well, sometimes you have to fight them.
This is true.
You know, sometimes you got to fight them, but not with a weapon. You know, sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. Yeah, you got to stand up for yourself, but don't get in no trouble.
Hold
you
on.
know what I mean?
Man, you listen, you confusing the brother. Stand up, but don't fall down. You can't tell him, brother. Listen, man, I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna bring up some other callers, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming up.
Okay, no problem.
All right, bro. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. You too.
All right. Reboot. I see you about to bring you up, and then what's that, Rodwin? Rodwin, I'll bring you up after, brother. All right, Reboot. Bring you
Hey,
up.
what's going on? What's going on? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, what's good, Chief? I can hear you. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
Maxwell for a second, brother. I said, oh shit, Maxwell.
Yeah, no, but you know what? So I didn't even know about this case until Matt Walsh, you know, because I consider myself conservative, right?
Okay.
And then Matt Walsh said a white kid gets stabbed by a black kid. And I'm like, why'd you make it about race? Why'd you make it about race? Like nobody was even paying attention to this. And then you see, and me, like, stand your ground. I believe that Kyle Rittenhouse, it was self-defense, right? But I believe that this is self-defense, right? Then you see all the like narratives, like, oh, he said move and then he stabbed him. Like what? That's what happened. And then the police report comes up and it says something different. Then you people's asking, well, why they have the knife? And they're reading the law, right? I'm on TikTok lives and they're reading the law and they skip the part where it says location restricted knife.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
This a size to the knife you ain't and that's why school has policies to say no knives, right?
Yep.
And then they said he was in a restricted area. A pop-up tent is not even, you just can't just pop up a tent and be like, yeah, this is restricted. Yeah, I own it. Yeah. In the middle of bleachers where people have to walk through to get to the other side of the bleachers.
There you go.
Right?
In the rain.
In the rain.
In the pouring rain. Yep.
Right. And another dynamic I see is that there's two twin brothers that approached him, right? Because like you said, when they had the first initial interview with Hunter, he said it was us and my brother always has my back. Right. Right. And so now you got two tall, 225-pound linebackers, and you're sitting down, you're at a disadvantage, right? He could definitely, I mean, I could definitely see that he had the fear of being overpowered, because if my brother gets in the fight with the stranger, I'm jumping in. There ain't no one-on-ones. Like, ain't no one-on-ones. I'm gonna, now if it was the homie, like, now y'all have to fight it out, shake, but and then, you got people recording. He pushed him because is that what the report said? Right?
Yeah. The witness said he got pushed. Yep.
And then a lot of people push his narrative that he instigated by saying, touch me and sees what happens. And tell me if I'm wrong or not. Is that a defensive posture?
It's a defensive posture. It's not provoking because you're responding to a threat, right? So you're not provoking. What they want to say, what they're trying to say is that he said something that is antagonizing the individual to attack him. So that's provocation. They skip over the fact that he's responding to a threat that was given to him by the primary aggressor, which is Austin. That's just the facts, right?
Yeah.
You can't say touch me and see what happens, and you don't want to know what was said. The officer didn't ask. Nobody asked. Nobody wants to know what Austin said. If this person said, okay, kick me in the eye and see what happens, that means you said you were going to kick me in the eye. Yeah.
It just doesn't come out of nowhere. Right? It doesn't out of nowhere. It just doesn't come out of nowhere. Right? Sir, can you please move? Punch me in my face and see what happens. Like, I just asked you to move, sir.
That means you said you were going to assault me.
Yeah.
You said you were going to assault me. And everyone, all these damn conservative, these clowns and hypocrites, I'm so disappointed. So disappointed. And I don't even really follow them like that. But I saw Matt Walsh because I watched his interviews because he's, you know, a Christian content creator. So I watched it when he's interviewing people, and I saw this video he did with, I think, Kelly something, and the stuff,
Megyn Kelly,
and the stuff that was coming out his mouth. I was like, damn, is that him?
Yeah.
I was so taken by all of his infinite wisdom and knowledge. He didn't have enough wherewithal to be able to have an intellectual conversation and make a statement of wisdom. You know, he went right into that emotional vitriol reaction. And again, this simply just exposes people's true inner heart.
Yeah, I was real disappointed in a lot of conservatives. I was like, dude, like I thought we wasn't on this type of stuff, right? But you know, they brought it up first, right? That's the only reason I heard it. I was like, dang. And then another point that people say, well, why did he toss the knife and run? Well, first of all, you don't want to be a black kid who just stabbed somebody running with a knife.
Well,
you don't want to do that. Listen, if I see somebody with a bloody knife or whatever he poked them with running, I'm like, oh nah, man, we have to take him down. I don't know what he's doing, right? But then also like people's like, oh, he tossed the knife. Well, you also, in my mind, you don't want to drop the knife where the brother could pick it up and then chase you with it. Like, so he tossed it at a safe distance, so it could be out the scene. He only poked him once. It wasn't multiple. He poked him, he tossed it, he ran, he stayed there, he didn't lie, he cooperated. And so like me growing up, like the question you asked the other guy, I was told, keep your hands to yourself, but you better not let nobody put their hands on you.
That's very true.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Right.
Oh,
and I don't care if that person's bigger than you, you pick up something and you hit them with it.
Sounds very black and consistent. That's exactly. I think we're, you know, but this also shows you there's a different teaching in culture, right? And when you cross culture, you might think that this is okay in a community that you're in, this neighborhood you're from, the school that you go to. It's okay to push people. You're not expecting people to retaliate because you're a school football player, or you might come with that mentality and you come across someone in the real world who doesn't subscribe to your reality. And a push to them is there's countries you can go, you can't go to certain countries and disrespect somebody verbally without losing your life, right? There's just, things are not based on our reality, and the world doesn't owe you any understanding. You need to move with a level of discernment and say, listen, you can't control another person's reaction, right? My brother had this game. We only played it once. Let me tell you this game real quick. When we were younger, he said to me, okay, Nate, let's play this game. Who can hit who the softest? Okay. I don't know if you got older. This is a game. My brother was wicked, man. He said, let's play a game. Who can hit who the softest? He said, okay, but you go first, Nate. You go first. I'm like, all right. You know, I'm warming up. I must have tapped him as if a fairy had landed on his, just boop, right? He's like, oh man, that was a soft hit. My turn. Okay. Next, you know, I'm waking up holding my chest, and my mom is praying over me, trying to bring me back to life. Right? This is you can't control someone else's reaction.
No, you can't.
You can't.
No, you can't.
See, I was taught that. That's life. You put your hands on somebody, or what they say about weapons. If you pull that weapon out, you better pull the trigger.
You better use it. Yeah, you better use it.
You know, so these are things that we're taught. These are lessons about life. He learned a lesson in life that he cannot come back from.
Yep.
And Karmelo is learning a lesson too. What lesson is that? That you don't have control over consequences. You're leaving your consequence. The future of your life is going to be in the hands of some strangers who already found you guilty. And the question he's going to have to play back in his mind was, was this worth it? Was there anything else I could have done? Yeah, you could have walked away. You could have walked away. That was an option, brother. That was an option. You should have removed yourself from that area, but you didn't. And if you couldn't, you better be able to prove it.
Yeah, because yeah, right. And another thing I want to bring up, like this whole like projection about black people, especially coming from other black people that were evil, that I lived in the hood and we all hated white people. Like, what hood did you live in? What hood did you like? Yeah, that is crazy. Like, I was like, and the thing is, like, if you think about it, we're not the ones putting on masks, waving SWAT stickers, and going to black neighborhood or white neighborhoods with black power fists and saying like, this, or like racist stuff to white people. We don't do that. Right. We pretty much leave them alone, right? But the projection is how many times you see in Ohio, right? Was it Ohio when the neo-Nazis came and stuff and was waving their flags, talking about black people's bugging? Yeah, black people's bugging us. Man, you came over here. You just actually came over here. We wasn't bothering nobody. Same thing with the young brother. He wasn't bothering nobody. You came over there.
Right.
But at the end of the day, me personally, I would have fought. Right. I would have got beat up, probably would have caught the homies. But we don't even know how much it would escalate it from there.
Right.
Right. We don't even know how much it would escalate from there. Yeah, it could have been two schools versus, each other going at it. It could have been a retaliation in the back. We don't know. Right. But yeah, so I mean, that's all I have. Thank you for having me on.
Nah, brother, I appreciate you, man. And you're welcome up here anytime, man. I appreciate the support. And I'm glad that you checked out the channel, man. So yeah, man, we got to talk some more though, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We got the content, man. Let me know what you think.
Okay, yeah. I'm usually on TikTok a lot, but I seen yours, and yours was the most balanced. And I was like, oh, okay, this brother is balanced. Because I always seen like it was either way this way or way the other way. I'm like, bro, like let's just deal with the law. Like, what does the law say? All right then, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. I see you, Rod. I'm about to bring you up, brother, and then I see you, Baz. I'm gonna bring you up after this brother here. All right, Chief. Let's see. What's good, man? How you doing, Chief?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
That's what's up. First of all, congratulations on your channel.
Thank you.
Very happy I found you. I second the notion of the last man that you're very balanced, and it kind of came at the right time. I don't know. I made a comment before. You were talking about some other YouTuber, and it was the day that I deleted them from my feed that I found you. So it was just like kind of meant to be. Congrats.
Hey, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate
it. Hopefully my words will be of value that you understand. When I tell you congrats, I mean it from my experience.
I appreciate it.
I want to, because I tend to like look at things that people don't.
Okay.
And I want to say my verdict is self-defense. And the way I got there is these two reasons.
Okay.
I think the obvious reason, which is not one of my reasons, is the obvious reason was the brother was very telling on himself. That's an entitlement that those people have, that they just say things blatantly without thinking about them because they don't have to think about them. So that's how we're let to understand certain things. But my two reasons are, why did he bring a knife? If we could start answering that, that'll add more context.
Okay.
I think we'll lose a lot of context because of the media, what we heard, what we didn't hear, obviously. Right. Because that's when people will start to change their minds, hopefully. The second reason is, I find it highly suspicious how the dad was acting initially.
Same here. Yeah.
Not for nothing, you did not survive cancer for your child to die before you, and you still act like that. While you can look at his actions as, oh, he's honorable, he's a man of God, he's a whatever. That's still highly suspicious. That, in my suspicion, that was like virtue signaling to his own kind of like, let this go a little bit because we don't want certain truths out. You understand what I'm saying?
Trying to get in front of the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
now that we are a little bit, we're getting leaks here and there, we're starting to get a truth where all that you start to be like, oh, wow, oh, yeah, well, now that makes sense, you know? So it will start to answer that. So in my two ways of getting to this, one is where people start to change their mind, like, and the other one is like, there's one more thing I want to add. Sorry, real quick. I have to silence.
No, you good. Before you get that, let me ask you this. You're saying it's self-defense, but do you believe that the usage of the knife was considered excessive force, right? Because he can legally be allowed to use self-defense.
Yes.
We know that he can use self-defense. We know that he doesn't have to, according to law, retreat. He can stand his ground. But do you think that the usage of the knife was excessive?
I believe the use of the knife was definitely excessive.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, there was a convoluted way that I got to my answer of self-defense.
Okay.
Because I have to factor in life and how it is state by state, right? I don't believe in stand your ground. I do believe in self-defense. I do believe that those are two different things. One gets misused. One gets abused. We've seen that before.
Yes.
So, and here's another thing. I've had 1,092 fights in my life, if I had to guesstimate. I've never brought a weapon, ever. So I don't believe in weapons. But I still got to which brings me right back to where I left off. When you start to answer why he could have brought the knife, did he get to pull it out on the person intended? That's different than intent. It's still self-defense, you know?
Yeah, it is, but then you lean into this area of premeditation that the knife was intended for a particular person, right? Here's where things can get premeditated. Say he actually knew the twins, right? Say he put himself in position to have an interaction with the twins, knowing that the twins would probably try to jump him so that he can use the knife. You see what I'm saying? If that can be,
Sure. That's why I don't believe in bringing a knife. That's exactly why, because that's how you eliminate that for sure. But if he had reason to believe that knife, now you look at the knife is a weapon. The weapon is not necessarily illegal. You said that many times. So when people believe, and this is why another reason I hate that we're trying to get away from the race when we have to always factor in the race. I mean, at the end of the day, it's different folk for different strokes, and that's why you bring in Zimmerman and all these other cases, right? It will always be, and no matter how that case turns out, it's going to be about race. One side is going to be offended over another, and they're going to say something about race, you know? So, but if he had prior interactions and he was protecting himself because he said it's not one, it's two of them. That's still the same as any weapon that you guys justify, and he just had it for in case.
That's true. And it's not. So, and here's the thing.
Sorry, and I'm sorry to cut you off. This is why it's hard for me to get there. And it was such a convoluted way because I don't believe in the weaponry. I'm from New York. Clearly, I'm from New York. I wear it on my shoulder.
Right.
I'm from a state where, at least where I was growing up, you didn't believe that any weapon was legal enough to. This was stopped in First City, so you didn't believe that you could have any weapon. So you had to prepare either or for, and that's why I had to grow up not using them because I wasn't prepared to go to jail. But other people don't have those type of considerations to consider.
That's so true.
Exactly why, if he brought a knife because he knew that these brothers be up to something, I personally feel with my, and now I'm gonna just bring my ignorance into, or my ignorant experience into this. I think the kids are bullies. At least one of them was, and he effed around and found out that day. It's just that simple for me. But because we're limited in the information, I have to kind of weave in between how I get to my answer. When your first poll asks me, it asks, do you believe guilty or not guilty? I had to give my first honest opinion, guilty. It wasn't self-defense. My first honest opinion is, why did he bring the knife? But then as I realized I had less context, now why does he bring the knife brings a different question to the floor.
Right.
Ahead,
why would someone need to and here's the thing, this could have been a utility knife. It doesn't necessarily, when people are thinking knife, they're thinking he had some marine
kitchen knife,
machete, right?
Or kitchen knife.
He could have been a Boy Scout trooper, years ago. This could have been a utility knife. It doesn't matter what the tool is. Any tool can be used as a weapon, right?
A weapon
For
of
it to
opportunity.
be an illegal knife, it has to be over 5.5 inches. The problem with this conversation is nobody even knows what the knife looks like. We don't even know if it is actually a legitimate knife.
Also, we have to remember there's a lot of context and a lot of reason for the context that's missing.
That's
they say
true.
There's kids and we're not supposed to know certain things, which is BS, because when it comes to black kids in the news, we hear more things than I hear. For example, I hear ages when it's a 17-year-old boy when he's white, and it's a 17-year-old man when he's black. So that's BS. This is why
the media bias is real.
I really hate avoiding that conversation, because that's how we keep getting here, because we never keep having these conversations. That's why everybody's like, avoiding the big elephant in the room is never going to fix the problem. But
true.
The hypocrisy of these states. So I'm from New York, Florida, Texas. These are states where stand your ground and all this other thing. So it's a difference in altercations.
Yes.
If you're in New York and you can't have a knife, you're going to watch how you talk to me. But if I'm in Florida and you could have a weapon and you could stand your ground, it matters what you say after I'm not there to save the rest.
Right.
And then in this case, you have the kids who were the prime witnesses. There's a lot of information they already have that we don't.
True. That's true.
So, and shame on the police for not even releasing none of it and leaving this fodder to continue amongst Americans.
True. That's true. When they could have cleared this out, because my thing is
a lot of little things up that don't even have to
guess it. It shouldn't be a guessing game. They should honestly, if they weren't going to do they shouldn't even release the police report.
But what does that signify?
And they should have went out and gave a statement, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What does that signify? That's a cover-up. That's them trying to make it seem a certain way. And the way it's seeming now, it's intentional. The way it's seeming now is like we have to find all the excuses to make it all right what he did. So that's intentional. What's going to start leaking now, with the family starting to leak out and all this that I'm hearing on since you've been live, it's happening as it should, and they're going to have to eat that one. I'm going to be frank.
Listen, man, I appreciate you, brother. Good insight, man. Good insight.
Yo, keep up the good work. I will support you as I can. I'm always look out for your channel, bro.
Hey, man, thank you, boss.
Spread the word if I can, too.
Hey, please do. All right, homie.
All right, brother. Still.
All right. Interesting. Baz, I'm gonna bring you up. Let me go through any questions. I'm gonna take this last guess. We hitting 3 hours. I feel good, you guys. We've been running good. Hold on, let me see. Good reason for carrying. Any questions? Put your final questions in the chat, you guys, so I can catch them. And so I can catch. If I missed your question, please resend it. I'm going to try to catch all of them. Kenneth says, I just entered the chat. Have you discussed that fact that they have been in the home for a few years and have not purchased any new cars? Yeah. This is what Michi was talking about earlier. You guys, and I said this earlier, where did that lie come from? Okay. Where did the lie come from? I'm planning on doing a separate video on that, because it took me anger. I'm not gonna lie. I got pissed because people are so quick to put out just anything. They don't fact check anything. They don't think about anything. Everyone wants to validate their racism, right? They want to validate their bigotry so bad. They want to validate their true interpretation of Black people so bad. So the moment they hear something negative, they're like, damn, I knew it. Of course, a Black person would take the GoFundMe money and the donation money and go buy a Bentley. Of course, they would take half $1 million and do this. And and put down payment on a brand new house that they couldn't afford otherwise. I knew those Negroes would do it, right? We were just waiting. What does that mean? It means inside your heart. This was your interpretation. This was your view the entire time. And you're waiting, you're looking for something negative to report on, because why would there not be anything negative? Why would you suspect anything less, anything lower? The first thing I heard someone say, so I heard Charleston White make a statement. I've heard people on PDB podcasts, which I was really shocked. These guys come off like they're partially intelligent, made a comment and say, it's these single parent households and kids being raised by single moms. And I'm just like, who told you that? They already labeled him. They've already mapped out what it means to be Black, right? You know, I talk about data. I talk about statistics all the time on this channel. But those conversations are done in specific context. When we're talking about specific things, I don't use those things to label every single situation. I know as an officer who've arrested countless of Black people and a little bit of white folks. All right. Have I ever locked up? I've never locked up an Asian person. I may have locked up. Anyways, I've arrested a lot of different people, different cultures, different religions, you guys. What have I noticed? I've noticed the reason why I know poverty doesn't bring about crime. I've watched people who have two parents. I've watched people who have money commit crimes, violent crimes. I've watched women commit crimes. I've watched women, take underage kids and do things to them and sell them off here and I've seen it all, you guys. I've seen people who live in mansions commit crimes that you think only poor people do. I examine people's behavior. That's what I look at. I chase evidence. I don't get caught up. All these people online talking about all this stuff about data and statistics. I do the job that give you the data to read and voice your personal stupid opinion from the comfort of your home. I help create that. People who do my job with the nurses, doctors, police, judges, attorneys. We serve DFACS workers, okay? You talk to them and let them give you the truth about what actually goes on in these different communities, whether Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I've worked in poor white communities, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in poor Black. You just wouldn't tell the difference. Poor is poor. Stupidity is stupidity. Ignorance is ignorance. Evil is evil. And it's not exclusive to skin color. But contrary to what these people think, they think that this is something that is exclusive to Black people. And you look stupid. You look real stupid, you guys. And I can't wait to call all of it out. I want to see who's going to retract these statements, whose videos are going to disappear. And I've been screenshot videos, so I plan on putting them all out. As soon as I found out that whole thing was a lie about this money that they spent on this and they bought that and this, I said, man, all these videos I've been seeing, I thought it was true. Now, I didn't look into it, but the first thing in my mind was like, this has nothing to do with the case. Why are you guys pocket? Who cares? Who cares? What does that have to do with the case? Oh, BLM strikes again, right? I'm hearing all this stuff. You guys, shame on y'all. And that's fine if you reported a lie, okay? Because you don't know no better because you're an imbecile. Fine, bless your heart. I want to see who has the integrity to make another video and apologize and walk it back. That's what I want to see. That's what I'd like to see. I want to see who's going to have the integrity to say, you know what, I was wrong. I don't even know where the hell I got this from. Actually, I just got it from somebody else, another conservative channel. I got it from some other idiot that I watched his channel, and I just repeat what I said, what someone else said, and I don't really think because I'm an imbecile. So I just put out whatever everybody else is putting out. There's no integrity in these people's channel. They're clowns, you guys. Baz, I'm about to pull you up, brother. What's going
up?
on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good stuff, man. So I guess a few things.
All right.
One, your video. I know everyone keeps saying it, but it needs to be said again and again. Absolutely excellent.
Man,
Gave
thank
me a
you.
lot of information. I wanted to kind of go over it again. I wanted to make a second video on it because I
Okay.
actually made a video
You
on
got a
it.
channel? What's
On
your channel? Shout your channel out real quick.
it's Fast Easy. That's me. That's
All
my
right.
username. People call me Zerse on there. And in my video, what it was really about is the topic of mercy. It's about this whole thing could have been avoided if these young men exhibited mercy, and that is, I can fight, but I don't have to fight.
There you go.
And when I was growing up, you know, it's a good thing. I practiced martial arts growing up, and I said it in the video, and it's a very good thing I didn't fight, even though I had a lot of like anger and you know, lots of problems. I actually was one of the black kids from a single parent home, and it's interesting. And I bring that up because it's like we have all these different stereotypes and whatnot, but when you look at the Karmelo thing, we find he actually doesn't fit any of those stereotypes.
No,
And
he
it's really
doesn't.
fascinating because it should give pause to people, but they don't come back and retract it. They don't come back and say anything. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to answer your question, and then I had some questions I wanted to ask you because you know, you
Okay.
have a lot of experience. I think it's great. So to answer your question, my opinion has changed ever so slightly.
Okay.
And I was more condemning of Karmelo because my own biases was I've encountered, you know, young black men that will shit talk, right? If we can curse a little bit. I've encountered
Yeah,
it.
you're good.
I've had my spats with that growing up. So in my mind, when I first saw Hunter's interview and he said Karmelo was talking mess, I'm like, yeah, he probably was, right? Because I've experienced it. But as time went on, you pointed something out. And it was such a great observation. It isn't just when Hunter said we got into an altercation. There was another interview where Hunter said he was the one Karmelo spoke to first. I don't know if you saw that interview.
No, I didn't
Hunter
see that.
said that Karmelo said something to him, and then his brother Austin stuck up for him. So to some degree, they're mixed together. I don't know the extent, and it's because of that. My original opinion was a little bit more harsher. I'm thinking Karmelo was a young black man that didn't understand the power of a weapon. And I'm like, you know, you got to learn. You got to learn. You can't do that. But now I'm like, it doesn't, again, no criminal record. We don't know what kind of knife it was. The more information, now I'm like, this is looking like manslaughter at worst. And my thing is, I think I can comfortably say this is a self-defense case if Hunter was involved. And that's how I feel. If we have Hunter involved, if and that might be their legal strategy. That's what I was imagining. I would lean on. It does stand to reason. You know, I don't know if you ever seen Supernatural, but Sam and Dean, the two main characters, they're big guys. They come at you.
They are big.
I don't know how you're gonna fight them. And so in my mind, that's where I'm leaning to. But so that's how I feel. I think it really depends on Hunter's involvement, from my opinion. If Hunter really just sat there, I would say that's manslaughter. If he was involved, I think it is reasonable to assume why Karmelo might felt he needed a weapon, right?
Yep.
But I personally, I don't like knives as a good self-defense weapon. Personally, I feel like you can only do two things: brandish it or use it.
Yeah.
If you use it, you're either cutting someone or you're killing them. So that's my opinion on that. So the question, I had three questions I wanted to ask you.
Shoot away.
So my first question is, like, what assumptions would you make if you arrived on scene as it was described, and like what kind of biases do you think you would have if you're in that scenario? Like, what kind of questions would you ask, or you know, that kind of thing?
I've had several stabbings. Believe it or not, only one stabbing that I had was, I had two stabbings that were domestic. The rest were all fights. I've always had stabbings where all the stabbings were women, actually. And now I think about it, all of the knives that were used, I think that I've arrested were all women that I can remember. And when you arrive on scene, it's a bloody scene. It's chaos. It's confusing. You just see a lot of blood. You don't know what's going on. The first thing you have to do is you gotta move everybody out the way. You gotta separate everybody, isolate everybody, secure the person that's injured. That's the primary, right? So when we paint the picture of how this thing works, secure the scene, secure the weapon. You find the suspect. You got the suspect. Cool. Now you got to worry about your witnesses. You have the ambulance coming. Your victim's either alive or dead. Okay, they're out the way. The first thing you want to do is preserve the crime scene. You want to make sure the crime scene is intact because all your evidence is in this area. Then you want to make sure you grab all the witnesses and keep them separate because you need to interview them separately. That means you secure their phone, you secure them in a separate area away from everybody else. The first thing I'm looking at is I want to know who saw it. Hey, raise your hand if you saw what happened. Okay, you want to isolate those people and you want to talk to them individually because you don't want them sharing information. You don't want things kind of mushing together. You want to get their unique view on what happened. I don't have biases, right? I have assumptions. I see someone with a knife in the hand, their hand has blood on it. I see the bloody the person was stabbed on the ground and they're dying. Okay, I think the person who held the hand is the suspect. So you're being handcuffed first, okay? Oh, I didn't stab him. I just pulled the knife out. It's like, okay, cool. Put your hands by your back. You know what I mean? So that's the bias. The bias is I'm making a quick judgment based on my observation, knowledge, training, experience to see what looks out of place. Okay, you're holding the knife. Nah, yeah, okay, cool. Boom, handcuffs. Okay, next, I'm asking questions. I need detailed information. Because say I go on the scene and the person holding the knife is saying, hey, he attacked me. Okay. I still got to put you in handcuffs. Why? Because I need to find out what happened. Karmelo was getting put in handcuffs regardless of how this thing played out. Okay. Why?
Which
because
I think is
he
reasonable.
stabbed. Okay. So now I want to know, he said self-defense. First thing I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is self-defense. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's lying. Maybe he's telling the truth.
And you made a really great point because it's interesting because like even I have biases too because again the first Hunter interview I saw where he said Karmelo was talking mess, I didn't even think about well what did Austin say to get if you touch me, see what happens.
See what happens.
That's a great observation, and that's why I really appreciate your video because you're pointing out so many different observations, small details that and I analyze a lot of stuff all the time, and even I did stop to think, well, wait a minute, that's a great point because. If he is saying, I'm going to drag you across this field, let's say he says that.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable to think you're in danger, right?
So you say, okay, let's act this out. Okay. Let's act this out. You're the witness. I'm the officer and I'm interviewing you. Okay. Hey, Baz, what did Karmelo say? I'm asking you.
He said, if you touch me, see what happens. That's
okay. Quote. So Karmelo said, if you touch me, see what happens. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm writing that down. Okay. I'm gonna say, what did Austin say to Karmelo that made him say, touch me and see what happens? How did he describe how he was going to touch him? This is what I'm supposed to do as an officer. When I looked at the police report, the witness statement and narration of what happened is missing. It's one-sided. It's lacking that information. The officer allowed the witness to make statements and he didn't dissect. He didn't clarify. He didn't interrogate any further. He just was like, okay, cool. Right?
Yeah, and that's a great because and what's so interesting. So many people treat it like it's the Holy Grail, and even I'm like, and I'm just sitting here like, well, that's more a summation of after the fact, right? And I'm just, I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm like, but that's just a summary of what happened after the fact. Why would we put so much stock in that?
Imagine how I feel. Someone who knows how this thing works. Imagine how I feel when I see someone who's an attorney. And he's gloating about he knows self-defense rights and laws, and he reads the same police report.
I saw a lot of that, yeah.
And he doesn't even address it. He glances over the fact that the police report is one-sided. And granted, how was it supposed to go as an investigator, as an officer? You are asking the witness to walk you through each and every event that they can recall in their memory, because that matters for you to actually put the proper charge on the suspect. So here's the thing. One thing that got my attention in the witness report, he said, Karmelo was there. Austin showed up. You need to leave. He didn't. He said I guess he's not leaving. Austin pushed him, right? Then he said they argued, and then Karmelo reached in his bag and then said, "Touch me and see what happens." Well, hold on. As an officer, guess what I'm asking? Are they argued? Yeah. What did they argue about?
That's great. Yeah, that is a great question.
What did they argue about? The officer didn't ask that. Why? Because he came in there with a preconceived idea of who the suspect. He didn't care. He thought he was Johnny on the spot, and this is who we got. Okay.
Well, what if we say this, right? Maybe because I try to practice with grace. What if because he had Karmelo, he had the guy who, and Karmelo literally said, "I'm not alleged, I did it." What if in his mind he thought, "There's no more. We got it. It's a wrap. Now let's try to put it together." Do you think that might have contributed to the bias?
If it did, then he's a rookie and he's an idiot. Let me not say that. He's an imbecile and he's not good at his job, because despite what you think you have, you still have to prove it in court. And you have to be able, because even though the person did it, doesn't mean that what they did was illegal.
That's a great point.
So now you still have to look at the facts, and the elements of each crime still has to apply. So there's plenty of times I've come up on crime scenes where people have been shot. And he's like, "Hey, I walk up." I mean, I had a case where a guy was at Walmart and he saw the guy who robbed him last week in Walmart. He drew down on him, called the police. The guy who was drawn down on drew down on him, and he ended up shooting the guy. Okay. He was trying to do a citizen's arrest on his own suspect who robbed him. So now guess what? He calls the police. I'm around the corner heading to Walmart. Well, I wasn't heading to Walmart yet, but I was around the corner from Walmart. I'll never forget this. And they said, "Hey, this is an armed robbery suspect located, shootout in Walmart. The victim has the suspect at gunpoint." Guess what we told them? Tell everybody to put the guns down when I show up, or everybody's getting put out.
Really? Yeah.
Right? So guess what? I show up at the scene, my coworkers show up, we run out the car, we got our guns out. We get on the mic, everybody dropped on the ground, get the guns on, right? That's how it goes. So the victim and the new victim, all right? The guy who robbed the guy, he found him at Walmart while he was shopping, tried to detain him, to get into a shootout, he shoots him. So guess what? I show up at a chaotic scene. I got a person shot. One guy saying he's not the guy. The other guy, he shot me. I don't know. I don't know him. You get what I'm saying? Guess what? Everybody's in handcuffs. Everybody's in handcuffs. We cuffed everybody. Even the guy who got shot, he's cuffed. But then guess what? As a couple hours go by, we verified it. The idiot even had his property on him that he took from him from last week. He had his cell phone on him. So, but I say that to say, you still have to do your due diligence as an officer, as an investigator, even when you think you have something that you have.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
So I have one last thing to say. Well, not even to say, but to ask you. So this is something that made me want to make another video about the case specifically. Because again, my first video, I'll be honest with you, I did not think that this was going to get as far as it did. I mean, there's this, I don't know if you ever heard about the case with, was it Kyle Carruth and Chad Reed? In Texas, there's this shootout that happened where the guy leaves. It's a child custody situation. Ex-husband, ex-wife, they're arguing. New boyfriend goes into the house, grabs the gun. The ex-husband, they wrestle for the gun. He gets tossed out, shot. Right? I remember. No charges were actually filed on Kyle Carruth. No charges were filed. I double checked it because I hated that story. I thought that was I'll be honest with you, I thought that was, I honestly would lean on that was premeditated murder just by the fact that they had a whole relationship. Absolutely,
me too.
But no charges were filed, right?
That's crazy.
And so it's interesting to me because like no outrage for that. And I've been bringing it up in my comment section. But really the thing that's really getting to me is the idea that like I don't know how much of this is the great pretending to make Karmelo a villain. or if there's really a cultural divide. And I think you brought it up in the last caller, but it's like the provocation or the perceived provocation of touch me and see what happens is something that I have never in my entire life ever heard as a provoking to engage. It always, to me, read as a warning. Always.
It's a warning.
Always read that to me as a warning.
Yep.
And to me, I'm just sitting here when I hear some of these people say this, I'm like, okay, like for real, if a rattlesnake rattled his tail, would you think to yourself, I must fight the rattlesnake? Right. No one would think that. So in my mind, I can't understand how we get to, you see a rattlesnake, you see a dog growling, you see all of these animals, Animal Planet, that's a warning, but touch me and see what happens means you want to fight. That's a provocation. How do you like, so to me, it's like, do you think there's a cultural divide, or do you think there's just deception going on when people say that's a provocation? Like, I want to know your opinion on that one.
My opinion is I think it's all the above. It's a cultural divide. It's a bias. It's a racial bias. It's this story doesn't fit the narrative that we are comfortable with. And so we're going to move the goalpost. The goalpost is black. And so we're going to move it around a little bit. Instead of being true on your convictions. What this says to me about a lot of these people, and I don't really even follow them like that, but I hear the arguments that they stand up for, like your Ben Shapiro, when he got called out about him, all of a sudden he's backpedaling and on freedom of speech, right? He's in his feelings when he talked about, the facts don't care about your feelings, right? Like, so now.
And then you got that shirt on. That's funny.
Damn right. And you know what's funny? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. These things are only okay when it aligns with your views and your ideology. It's okay. But the moment it doesn't align with your personal views and your ideology, then it's not okay, right? You got to think like the hive. And if you don't think like the hive all the time, then you're not okay when you don't think like them some of the times. And so
they did that to Tim Pool. I don't know if you heard about that. They were
trying
to
eat Tim Pool. A little bit about that with Tim Pool. It's a cult. It's a cult group, right? They're not standing on. They don't have principles.
And that's what's scary about it, because the right wing was the main ones. They were saying they're not like that, man. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I've seen lots of different shifts. This is a little eerie, exactly, embarrassing and eerie to me. How they just ate it like flies. And I'm just sitting here like and again, Matt Walsh too. I'm just sitting here like I'm sorry. To me, I really can't accept that they don't understand that is a warning, because I live my whole life. You know what I'm saying? My whole life, I've never thought to myself, touch me and see what happens. Oh, I need to fight that man. I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm good.
Nah, they know what it is. They know what it is. They don't want to acknowledge it because they're caught in this emotional reality that, oh my God, this amazing white child was taken from his twin brother, and he was taken by a thug black boy. And this black boy probably comes from a single parent home. He probably never had nothing. He's probably jealous of this white boy and all he had. And look at this boy, his accolades. He was going to be somebody. His parents love him, all this. And so they're coming with this mentality saturated in stereotypes, and they just can't even acknowledge that Austin was the primary aggressor, right?
Which is crazy to me.
It's all of a sudden private property is public property, right? All of a sudden, there's no such thing as, public property. All of a sudden, there's no. All of a sudden,
you're not where you're supposed to be, which I find interesting that they don't hear that. They don't hear Jim Crow in that, which is crazy to me. They say it, but they don't even remember. Literally, that's how black people used to be treated. And I'm not a race baiter. I'm not a race baiter. I don't even like,
I don't like race baiting. Yep.
Myself. But in Jim Crow, literally, that's true. That's what they would say. You're not supposed to be here. So I'm sitting here like, do you not hear what you're saying? Like you're really trying to fit the bias so much that you're just bent out of shape. It's unreasonable. And then when for example, again, when I first did my video, I was like, honestly, I don't understand why Karmelo didn't just leave. But then I hear the details that it was raining, and I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Why would he leave? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, well, why would he? And so I keep seeing all these different reporters, and they're just like, he's
don't
where
even
he's
wanna
not supposed
acknowledge
to
that.
be. But it's like,
They
it's
don't even want to
raining.
acknowledge it.
And you're
They
right.
don't.
I'm just sitting here, like, where is the, it's raining? Where's the logic? Where's the reason? Like, because like I said at the top, I accept if they say you're convicted of manslaughter, I accept that. I say that's reasonable. Shouldn't have had a knife. That's me. I at least can acknowledge he did something wrong. I'm not here to say Karmelo really is. I don't know if it's self-defense yet, to be quite honest with you, but I can at least admit it. But can we also be reasonable and like fair to the warning, fair to the environment, fair to what Austin was saying? And again, I'm really glad for your video. I keep praising it, but
Appreciate
again, that's the detail because I didn't even think about it myself. What did Austin say? What was he? What mess was he talking on his side of things?
In their mind, it doesn't matter. There's nothing he could have said that could have warranted being stabbed in the chest. But I beg to differ because the law says that your words and threats matter when it relates to self-defense. And the problem I have with conservatives and their hypocrisy and their hip-hopping around is that they called Daniel Penny a hero for strangling a homeless man to death.
Yeah.
Not all of a sudden he's not intelligent enough as a former Marine to know when he's improperly applying a choke for way too long. They gave him great. So what you see is that there are certain people who they want to look at. We could say white, we could say whatever, but they pick and choose who is worthy of exceptions, right? And what we saw with Daniel Penny is they gave him so many exceptions. He got the benefit of the doubt. Kyle Rittenhouse got the benefit of the doubt. No one had all the facts in Kyle Rittenhouse's case, and everybody just knew no way possible he could have been wrong, you know. And granted, morally, he was wrong all over the place.
I think so too. I honestly think so
all
too.
over the place, he was wrong. He was wrong for everything he did. But
in my opinion, go ahead. Well,
I was going to say,
I'll say this.
That doesn't mean that in that moment he wasn't allowed to use the weapon as self-defense.
That's exactly what I would say to my friends all the time. I told my friends this happened a couple years ago. I said, listen, in my mind, there's no reason a 17-year-old boy should be running around night in an active area with riots. He could have been shot in the back of the head, right? Why would my son? I wouldn't want my son, brother, knowing out there.
And the gun was unlawful for him to have. He wasn't supposed to have it.
And this is what I said to them. I said, even though I hated the fact he was there, when you see him getting attacked, that was self-defense.
Self-defense.
That's fair.
Even though I don't think he was in a place in a time he had no business. But you know what conservatives said? You know what they said about that statement? He had no business there. You know what conservatives said? They said, it's not unlawful for him to be anywhere he wants to be, right? This is the goal. This is the goalpost moving. They will do somersaults and backflips to justify the people they want to justify, and that's the problem. If you can't stay consistent, then you need to shut your mouth. You need to shut your mouth. And they took this narrative about them.
You know what I mean?
They took this narrative about them taking this money and spending it on a house and a car. I've seen some. I want to see.
I saw the Sun article. You know what's crazy? I saw people use the Sun article. They took the screenshot. I read the article. Nowhere does it say that those funds were used to buy anything. It just says it happened. It didn't say the funds were used. It didn't say whose funds were used. But here's another thing. This is also really interesting, right? If we just were to just take a step back and we look at the description of Karmelo's family, we have him being raised by a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids on one income. But it's just, we can't assume they have money.
Right.
Just basic common sense, you know what I'm saying? But they don't even consider it.
Because too many white people are so there's a segment of the white community that are imbeciles, and they believe that the stereotypes apply to every single dark-skinned individual in this country.
And it's
it's
painfully
their fault
unreasonable.
and it's not their fault, right? They've been brainwashed just like we've been brainwashed. There's imbeciles in the white community, and they are low IQ and they lack the ability to use common sense and logic to actually see things for what they are. And unfortunately, that's the reality. We have stupid people in all groups. It just is what it is. And until we're mature enough to come together and have an honest and respectful conversation, we're going to keep having these type of outbursts and these statements,
and it's so
accusing
sad.
people of these stereotypes. It is sad. That's why you got to pray
Because,
about it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I guess we can leave it on this. I know I took a lot of your time.
Nah,
What's so painful to me is literally seeing. I don't want to say it was God, but it just does seem. It seems ordained that the stereotypes are flipped. People they want to fight to make it they want to fight to make it true, but it's flipped. It's not true. It's not true.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Austin Metcalf. I was a substitute teacher, man. I tried to help these kids as much as I could a couple years ago, and I at no point ever want to see a young man die over something. And that's why I just want to. I really hope that the video I made, just really touches a little bit of just mercy. Sometimes, even if you can, just it's not worth it, man. And that's what I really would have hoped that. I would have hoped that that's what people would take. And unfortunately, man, it's just this whole media circus, and to me, we really miss the wisdom that like we as older men could give to these young people, and that's the wisdom I feel that you don't have to fight, man. There's a lot of times you just can let it go.
Conflict resolution, like I said, that's what everyone should be talking about: how to resolve conflict, how to pass this knowledge, how to make sure this doesn't happen to other kids moving forward, young boys, young girls, and young adults. How can we find better ways to resolve conflict? Instead, they're comparing whose GPA, who's the captain of this, who raised the most money on GoFundMe. I couldn't believe it.
I don't even understand. Who cares?
Who cares, like right?
Yeah, like
constant competition, man. And who's a single parent household, and whose daddy dressed better, and it's just stupid, man, and it's sad. And but listen, we can go on for hours about this, brother. But listen, I appreciate you coming up, man, and providing the insight.
Man, I appreciate you giving me the time, and I appreciate that video very much, man. So, and I went back and watched some of your old stuff, and I'm gonna keep watching.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man.
Stuff, man.
We gotta do a little collab, man. We'll do a little collab, man.
If you want, by all means, man. Like I said, I'm gonna be around. You'll see me in the comment section from time to time. By all means,
drop your channel in the chat for people so they can find you, man.
All right, yeah, I'm Bass FZZ. I think my name's in the corner. By all means, just Google me. You'll find me. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate you.
All right. All right. Wow. That was good. That was good. That was good. Listen, you guys, this was a great conversation. I really appreciate everybody coming up, providing their insight and giving their thoughts and opinions. And listen, let me close by saying this, right? This case has exposed a lot of vitriol that people have been wanting to express, wanting to share their true feelings, their issues with race relations, Black people and their issues with white people and their issues with Black people, okay? How people really feel. I love it, right? I think this is a good first step to let us know that there's still a consistent problem. The stereotypes that we have of each other, white and Black, this anger, this resentment that's been carried on for centuries, right? It's still here. And a lot of us already knew that. Some of us try to pretend, and we could see it on their face. We see these little race baiters online who are looking for opportunities to capitalize off of the emotional pain and the hurt. Anytime we have these white versus Black scenarios, it always sends us yards back, you guys. Anytime we make progress, the reality is there are amazing people on both sides who live and have fun together, who have families together that are white and Black, who love each other, and this is not the reality for everybody, okay? And this is why these race baiters are so dangerous. They will make you believe that it's white against black, it's us against them. That's not true. There's ignorant people on both sides that are holding us back from being able to sit down and have a real conversation. Some of us will never shake it, okay? Some of us will never shake it. Yeah, there's some issues within the black community, and guess what? There's some issues in the white community. There's issues everywhere. There's bad people on both sides. You guys, that's the reality of it. In this situation involving these two teens, regardless, you guys, these cases happen all the time. This is not the first time a kid was stabbed at school by another student from a different race, whether it's white on black, black on white, Hispanic on white, Asian on Asian. We've had it, you guys. You may not hear about it. I tell people all the time, I've seen so many things that never make the news. The news is the op. The news and the media is against the will of the people and the happiness and uniting of the people. They don't want to see it happen. They're all about the Benjamins, you guys. They want to make money. That's why they pick and choose what type of crimes to exalt in the media based on race, based on gender. It's all part of their business plan. And you guys are their consumer. And the more you consume the product, the more they're going to sell it to you. Right? That's how the game goes, you guys. It's a dirty business. No one cares about being accurate. They only want to be first. And if they can get you emotionally invested, they get your pockets aligned, and that's what it's all about. That's how they make their money. They make the money off your pain. They make the money off your frustration. And now you have all these little rinky-dink content creators who are making good money now. They don't care about the truth. They care about the money. They care about the subscribers, growing their channel by any means necessary. Even when they have nothing to say, they say nothing. They make a whole video saying nothing because they have no substance, nothing positive to bring to the table, no truth to bring to the table, but gossip. One person hears something and they just all repeat it, trying to be the next thing at the expense. So, anyways, in these divided states of America, you guys, only the sane will survive. Anyways, thank you so much, all who came and had the conversation, the questions. I hope I got a chance to get to as many questions as possible. We're at 3 hours and 42 minutes. I told myself I was only going to do 2. Man, but it's like that sometimes. Really enjoyed everyone's insight. You know, listen, you guys, at the end of the day, teach your kids how to handle conflict. Doesn't matter if they're on the giving or receiving end. Teach them how to handle conflict. Teach and preach love. That's it. Hate is taught. Someone's teaching it out here. A lot of people are teaching it out here on both sides of the fence. It's being taught. I've heard it, so you can't miss me with that. Okay. There's only one race. That's the human race. Okay. Remember that. We're all just different shades. We're all having this life experience in these space suits, because when this goes, there's something else that comes after. All right. So love everybody, you guys. Take the time to spread love. I'll be praying for you guys because this case is crazy. So at the end of the day, we want the truth and justice to be served. That's it. The truth be shared and justice to be served. And that's it. Anyways, you guys, with that being said, let these truths find you where the lies have left you. Good night. God bless. Whew. Can't wait to see the comments under this video. It's gonna be crazy. Crazy.